And welcome to the Computer Game Show. I am Sean Bell, and I'm joined by Matthew Murray.
Hello.
And James Farley.
Hello.
Right, quick health check. I'm recovering. Matt, you're dying, right?
I'm slowly dying. Yeah, I've mostly been fine for a long time. I haven't got what's going around, and then last weekend it sort of hit me in the arse. So
you don't strike me as a man that gets ill very often.
No, I don't.
Quite
so it's just really annoying when I do, because also when I'm ill, all I want to do is sleep. I could just and when I am ill and I do like force to take a day off work, I just sleep for the entire day. So
it's a waste, isn't it? It feels like a waste of could be a quality day off.
I think I mentioned this on the show before, but I'm always like jealous of people, and they're like, "Oh, I'm ill today, so I'm like watching films, playing games."
Yeah.
I'm like, that sounds. We definitely covered this before, but that sounds amazing. I literally just, if I'm ill, that's me. I'm literally just asleep for the whole day.
Yeah, exactly. James, how are you doing?
I'm fine. I'm absolutely fine.
Hunky dory.
Physical. Yeah. Okay. Good. Right. Feedback then.
Okay, first with feedback. Dean emailed in, loving the podcast, even without the main one. But who the fuck did the audio editing this week? Sean sounds like he has Tourette's with random, very loud audio clippings. Audacity literally levels the volume for you. Sort your shit out, lads. Cheers for the weekly entertainment and keeping the podcast world class in Dave's absence. Yeah, that was very much me.
Well, because I had a few messages about this off people as well, but then I loaded it up and I skimmed through it and it seemed fine. Did you do a sneaky re-upload or
no? So no? I mean, this is very like inside baseball, I think is what they call it. But no, so like Sean sends me his like file in a WAV with all the noise taken out basically. And what I often then do is I put them all through Levelator, but I just didn't because I guess I was tired or I forgot. But even when I had yours, and I still hadn't twigged about Levelator. I just thought, I was like, wow, Sean's is like very quiet at some points, very loud at others. I just didn't even twig. Anyway, at first I thought, well, it's not like Sean to have a weird sound quality. He's been doing this for years. He knows what he's doing. So I was like, I don't know. I'll just keep going. So that was on me. I imagine it's a lack of levelating. It will be perfect this week. I swear to God. James was amazing as ever. So well done, James.
Thank you.
Thanks,
I don't listen, so I don't know if it's all right or not. I guess
you don't listen at all.
No, I don't.
Well, what I do is I I basically quickly top and tail it on like Monday after the pod, and then on Tuesday on the way to work, and then during the day I listen to it in case there's anything I need to take out, any slurs, etc. And Tuesday morning on the way to work, it's basically almost like therapy now. Therapy. I'm like, listen to it. I'm like, I have to pause it a lot when I start talking. I'm like, oh God. I'm like cringing in my car. Like sometimes I have to go for like 15, 20 seconds. I have to almost have like deep breaths. I'm like, okay, and press play. It's horrific.
That's the thing. I just think. I mean, I quite like it when it's like the end of Monday evening, and I'm just like, okay, I'm done with this now. I haven't got to. It's done. We've recorded it. I haven't got to think about it anymore, and I don't want to listen back to it. It's
And I think like if anyone had dropped any serious clangers, we'd all be like, look, should we take out the bit where James was racist or whatever?
Steady on, Sean.
I don't think. Like, point is, Matt, if you had said anything really stupid, we would tell you.
Yeah, but I do always listen to it back just so I can say, okay, how can I improve? What was I rubbish at that time? But yeah. The Tuesday morning in the cars is not a happy place. I was like, oh, come on, just anyway. When I'm listening to this again Tuesday morning, hello Tuesday morning, Matt. Right, anyway, 7th Apex. In the latest episode, James said that EA doesn't need a hit. This is after me saying that EA desperately does need a hit. And he might be right, but take a look at the stock price in the last 6 months. It doesn't look good at all. They need to do something for sure. And he puts in brackets, although it looks like Apex Legends could be it. Have you got something about this in the news, James?
I have, yeah. We got lots of Apex Legends stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, that's all true. But the way you were saying it was like you were like kind of making out that EA was on its last legs and it was about to collapse. You know, it's like they've got to have a hit. They've got to have a hit. Referred.
I never said that. I just said that they need a hit, and like you later said, okay, but you mean like critically and sort of financially? And I said yes, definitely, but they need a hit, and they don't need like Apex Legends has.
They're not going to go anywhere, are they? It doesn't matter if their share price is down; it'll be fine.
No, but it wasn't about that. I just said they need something that's going to be a critical smash, and so they can say, "Okay, look, we've actually done something," rather than.
Look, as we're going to find out from the news, I don't think it matters.
I was going to say, should we get to the news? Well, sorry, we'll get to this when we do the news.
Well, yeah, we'll come back to this. Thien Allen has tweeted in about the Epic store, which you mentioned last week. Hi, lads. Just a note on the Steam/Epic thing. I'm just one person, but my bugbear with it is how, until this point, no store has had exclusive third-party games. You've got Origin and Battle.net and have publisher-specific games, but Epic are also poaching games like Metro, Hades, and other indie stuff which previously would have been available across Humble, GOG, etc. Notably, this limits competition as Epic don't offer keys to sell as yet, so there's no hunting for the best deal. You basically buy it from Epic or you fuck off. Considering the PS being a very open platform and Steam had enabled that with its free distribution of keys to sell elsewhere, this is a massive step backwards. A console-like exclusive model, and it sucks.
Yeah, it's got a point.
Yeah, I didn't really think about it that way.
Yeah, because obviously I was saying that
Epic Game Store keys elsewhere, like she's mentioned.
Yeah. And because obviously I was saying that basically any sort of stiff competition for Steam is a good thing, but it's only a good thing if it's doing things that make Steam buck its ideas up and actually address the issues that people have with it. Just nabbing exclusive games left, right, and centre isn't really something Steam can do anything about, other than try and do the same.
Well, they will do the same, won't they? And then
exactly, yeah, which would just be more annoying. It's not necessarily convincing them to create a better platform. It's just exclusivity wars, which, as the thing notes, is just that sort of getting into the console mentality. So.
And it's not really about better platforms as such, is it? It's really just about the cut that developers are getting. That's why people are looking at going to Epic, is because of that. But
Yeah, I mean, and also it's such a new platform. I mean, I heard this week that they haven't even got a community section because, and this isn't the news, it's probably not big enough. But did you hear about the Axiom Verge stuff?
My god, this was hilarious!
Axiom Verge is is it now exclusive to Epic Game Store?
No, I think it's just on there as well.
I think it might be there as part of their free games or free monthly games, whatever they do. And basically, people were finding out that at the start of the third section or third area, it was crashing and something was going horribly wrong. And basically, what happened is the dev, he didn't want any Steam drivers and DLLs to go over in the Epic sort of package, as it were. So he just basically did a find and replace for everything that mentioned the word Steam, and that removed some sound files for for something involving Steam and the third level, and it just kept crashing the game. Because at first, when that story broke, it was like, oh my god, it was Steam have been crafty and they removed stuff just to screw over Epic. But actually, it's just a developer saying, that was on me. I just did a.
Because initially the news was either it's an intentional thing, or it's how ironic that Steam, a Steam sound effect has broken it. Yeah, and then the dev just tweeted no, sorry, that was just me, just doing a control F.
I heard about that, and people saying the ironic thing actually is that was all discovered on Steam in the community section because obviously Epic Store doesn't have one. But it's a funny old story because at first I was cheeky, but it's just the old find and replace. We also talked last week about the Wii Shop channel being turned off. Alex79 UK comes in with a point which I totally hadn't realised, but it's well worth talking about. Worst thing about the Wii Shop channel turning off is that they're also stopping the Netflix service. Okay, our Wii has basically been a Netflix box in the kids' bedroom for years, and they ain't going to be happy that they can no longer binge on Peppa Pig while playing with their Lego.
Now, I've got questions about this, because I thought that had been shut down ages ago. I didn't know it was still working on, because they've switched it. They're switching it off very soon on 360. And
really?
Yeah, the BBC the BBC do this with iPlayer. They bin off older ones all the time. I didn't know if Netflix had already done this, but surely this doesn't matter anyway. It will still work, presumably. It just means you won't be able to download it again.
Well, as long as it's on there.
From what you're saying, it sounds like they're stopping it. Yeah.
I don't know if it's an issue of are they stopping the functionality of the app working, or are they just limiting the ability to download the app?
It depends, doesn't it? Because it depends on if it connects directly just to Netflix or whether it goes through the Wii Shop channel every time that you load the app. I've no idea.
Yeah,
but
then by that logic,
Computer
everything
can put on
stop.
Twitter if you want to let us know.
If somebody knows, that'd be good.
I can see the logic, from Netflix's point of view, as shitty as it is, because at the end of the day, if they're if you're using a device that they can no longer update the app on, then that starts leaving it open to security issues or God knows what else. Therefore, it's easier for them to just pull support for it, right? But I don't know. Yeah, I don't understand how they would do that remotely. Unless Netflix can identify what device you're using and then just shut it off.
Well, I just found a news story here. Basically, Netflix has emailed customers and posted a notice warning that Nintendo will suspend Netflix and other streaming services on the Wii after January 31st, 2019.
Yeah.
So it's already happened.
Nintendo's decision.
Well,
That's
no,
insane.
Yeah. So Netflix actually emailed saying it is Nintendo's their suggestion.
Bizarre.
So it's a shame, and also it's like with the 360, there's 80+ million of them sold. That is a perfect little Netflix machine. It's
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can buy like just a Roku stick or whatever. Can't
I was going to
for
say
like 20 quid or
like
whatever
a
now.
basic Chromecast or whatever that would sort you right out.
A lot of TVs even have it like built in and stuff now, don't they? It's you know. I mean, it doesn't help in this case because obviously this is going to like another like bedroom or whatever. But you just get like a 20 quid stick or something that's got it on it.
Also, Alex79UK, if you're listening, Amazon Prime, Amazon Video is great for kid stuff. And if you've got Amazon Prime anyway, give us a free sub, but also there's loads of kid stuff on it.
Say that. I did clock the other day, because we use iPlayer for Hey Dougie marathons, and all the episodes are have got leaving soon on them at the moment, so I'm having a panic attack. Because Netflix has only got Series 1.
Yeah,
I'm shitting it.
The Amazon Video does have some of that stuff, but I'm not sure how much. Yeah.
Okay, I'll have a look.
Elodie, I was quite proud of her the other day. She did her first accidental purchase on Amazon.
Oh yeah,
Amazon Video. It was only like a £2. I can't remember the name of the show.
You got all that stuff locked down.
Well, I haven't, because I've just never thought it was actually needed. But now I'm gonna have to do it. And then
I don't trust my kids to do anything with that stuff. It's just I immediately locked it all off. I mean, like my daughter uses like an iPad which barely does anything. Apart from that I just let her do. I'm not, no Safari.
She's like 8 years old now, right?
Yeah. I'm not letting her have access. No camera access. It's just I don't let them do anything.
Yeah. So she bought an episode of this program called the Bubble Guppies. Okay. And I was like, Jill, Elodie's bought something. This is crazy. And I was like, it can't be that easy. And I was like, well, let's just see. And I was like, 2 taps. Oh, I've just bought The Walking Dead. So yeah, it is that easy. So also I've got The Walking Dead episode 1. That's to not watch. Yeah, I need to do it. But no, I was quite proud of her doing her first. She said accidental.
When you were testing it, why didn't you just test it on something you actually sort of wanted?
Yeah, well, it's just the first thing that was on screen. Luckily, it's only £2.
I've accidentally bought the entire Game of Thrones series. It's
Actually, this cost me £2, which is a bit annoying. Anyway, Ben Cameron, from the last pod, James said Arthur has probably become my second favourite character ever in a game, and nobody followed up on who is James's favourite. So, which is poor on us, really. We should have done that.
Well, I mean, I didn't follow up on it because I was just like, oh well, it's bloody Kiryu, isn't it?
Of course it is. It's obvious it was going to be. I love that man, Sean. I absolutely love it.
I know. You've considered getting his full back tattoo, James.
Yeah.
I know you love it.
just get the full double dragon back tattoo. Is it 2 dragons?
No, it's just one. It's
2 dragons.
Dragon of Dojima, mate.
Yeah.
I don't know how I know these things because I've barely even played one of the games. But here we are.
I've talked about them quite a lot, Sean. I know you maybe don't listen, but it has been a lot.
Plus, any sort of interest in BitSocket will give you a full education in Yakuza, whether you like it or not. So that'll do it.
Yeah, I've learned enough from James and BitSocket. I should really play the games, but I was going to surprise you over Christmas and say, James, I've played a bit of that, but I didn't do anything.
The hour that I've played of Yakuza 0 was very good.
It was just 1 hour, was it?
I think so. I don't know.
Oh my word.
Maybe it was more than that. A lot of cutscenes. It's hard to tell.
We also one last bit of feedback. Matthew Moore. So when is the Kickstarter for the computer game show trip to mainland China?
That'd be brilliant.
What sort of bunts would we need for that to make it good on James?
For
5 days in China. Me, you, Dave, and Sean. What are we thinking?
For all 4 of us.
20 Gs.
No, you wouldn't need that much.
Well, I thought you wanted to have a good time.
For that much, we could definitely have a very good time. We can go to what was that city? I've forgotten the name of this. No,
Hong Kong, James.
No, there's a special city in China that's a hotbed of things. But yeah,
Special City.
Yeah. But I've forgotten the name. I've completely forgotten the name. It's just gone.
It's okay. We'll do the research before I put the Kickstarter page live.
James, are you going to take us to Kowloon Walled City?
Doesn't exist anymore, Sean.
I know. But...
your Chinese knowledge let you down there, Sean. Unbelievable.
There's a really good episode of I think it was 99% Invisible where they talked about it, and they interviewed some guys who worked on Call of Duty because there's a Black Ops level set in Kowloon Walled City, and they talked about how interesting it was having to like recreate it from what remains in terms of photographs and stuff.
I've remembered the name. It was Dongguan. We should go to Dongguan.
Yeah.
Okay, but how much are we going to need to have a good week in Dongguan?
Not a huge amount because it's only like a tier 2, tier 3 city, so it's quite cheap. It's
fair enough.
Yeah. Okay. Tiers. I want to know a bit more about these tiers.
I was going to say,
well, they classify the cities by like how not advanced they are. Well, yeah, basically by how advanced they are, what sort of facilities and everything they've got. So you've got like tier 1 that's like Beijing and Shanghai and places like that. Tier 2, which is places like Hangzhou and places like outside of the cities, and then tier 3, which is like further out. But then you've got like what we used to call tier 88, which is like basically like the absolute worst. Like
there's nothing. There's no 4 to 87. It's just straight from 3 to 88.
No, the 88 was a joke because it's 88. So like, it's a lucky number, but it's a joke. It's an expat joke. You had to be there.
I had to be in that country. That's it for follow up. If you want to leave us for follow up or feedback or any sort of thoughts, it's at Computer Game Pod on Twitter. Or you can email podcast@thecomputergameshow.com.
Men, James.
Yeah, news. So Apex Legends is doing okay.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Do you want to know some things about it?
Yes, so please give me some numbers.
Okay, so here's some numbers. In 72 hours, they had over 10 million players, which is pretty good.
Shit.
And they've also gone past the 1 million concurrent players as well, which is quite crazy. And from March, they're going to introduce a battle pass, obviously, which is that's going to be available, and it's going to follow the same system as Fortnite, which obviously makes sense because, as Matt has already told us like a million times, it's like they've kind of defined this, haven't they? Now, really, like the sort of like the best sort of strategy and everything. So what it is they're going to have. There's going to be a bunch of seasons. The first one starts in March when the Battle Pass comes out, and it runs until June. So they're going to be like 3 months for each season. And aside from the Battle Pass, they're going to be adding like other stuff. Like there's going to be like new legends, weapons, loot, and all that kind of stuff. And that's it, really. I mean, it's just doing very well. But there's one thing I'm wondering about with this, because it is doing like it's picked up a lot. Does this need to be on mobile though? If it's going to hit like real mainstream like Fortnite, do you sort of?
I don't know, because how much? I mean, again, this is maybe us being old and out of touch, but to me, it's difficult to imagine the mobile stuff taking up a massive chunk of like Fortnite or whatever.
I think it does, though, doesn't it? Like,
I mean, they're making crazy money with like the Battle Pass on mobile, and
really, okay, fine.
I have bought Battle Passes on mobile, but because again, it was cross progression across platforms,
right?
And it doesn't cover this in this, but they said that. They said in other reports over the last week or so that crossplay isn't in. It wasn't really like a thing when they started development, but it is coming. But they've said that cross progression will never happen because of the way this thing is built.
See, that's what I want more than
exactly.
Crossplay.
I mean, paying with people on other platforms is handy, although I haven't really done it, and playing against other platforms I don't really care about. But as I said before, it's about cross progression. If I can play on PS4 but then play on Xbox and I've got all my unlocks, especially with the Battle Pass and stuff, and I don't know if it's to go do challenges, which for me was like the best thing about the Fortnite one is, okay, you got to get like 4 headshots with this weapon, or go to different parts of the map, or do this or do that. That was what kept me going every day, really. I don't know if it's going to do that, but cross progression for me is the biggest thing, but that isn't going to happen with this game.
Okay.
Doesn't this mean also though that this game is going to end up being like having a niche audience basically, like throughout its lifespan? Now, what I mean by that is I don't mean that it's not going to be successful. I mean that it's just going to be limited to consoles and PC or whatever, and which means it's not going to like probably get out there in the same way that like Fortnite and PUBG have, if you see what I mean.
I mean, I think Fortnite
I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
I don't think the mobile thing definitely helped, and the cross progression absolutely helped. It felt like it was like the first of its kind to really do that. But Fortnite was massive and blowing up before that, but the mobile thing just helped.
This is the thing, isn't it? Like it's so unfair to use Fortnite as the yardstick because it's a fucking phenomenon. Like, and yet it's the one to beat, isn't it? Of course it is.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, yeah. So presumably this is already trashing PUBG, right? I mean, I know PUBG does fine, but I never hear anyone talking about it anymore.
No, PUBG still does very well. Like, as in, there's still a lot of people playing it. I mean, I imagine almost certainly it's still like way far out in advance of this at the moment. I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad thing that it's going to be like limited to this. It's just that, okay, maybe like you're saying that maybe they don't think this is going. They're not going for Fortnite or whatever. But I'd imagine that EA probably were hoping it would because I mean. It's EA. They're definitely going to be wanting to make as much money as possible, and you just think, if it comes out on like as many platforms as possible, and it really feels to me like it's since there's been like mobile and like people playing on iPads and stuff like that, that's when like Fortnite really hit the thing. I mean, when I've been out, you see kids playing it all the time on mobile phones. Just playing Fortnite and stuff. I can't see that happening. That isn't going to happen with this, obviously. So It just feels like this may end up being a bit of a niche, but then not. I don't mean like a tiny niche, but like it's not going to blow up, maybe like in quite the same way. But not that matters. Like particularly as long as it's good.
And also, this isn't on Switch. And again, I think that was a massive part of Fortnite. Also going to a whole new audience. The fact it's on Switch as well. For people who are like, well, it'd be cool playing it on the move, but I'm not going to play it on mobile. But the fact it came to Switch, and again, the cross-platform thing.
You got the fact that, I mean, the Switch, there was like that Switch version that came out that had like Fortnite with it, with like V-Bucks and all that kind of thing, and that was like their best-selling one. It was like the best-selling Switch that like came out. It's, I don't know.
In terms of, you said a moment ago about, I'm sure it's not, PUBG is still ahead. I mean, PUBG, I think I sold like tens and tens of millions of copies, so obviously it's going to be ahead in that regard. But in terms of Twitch numbers right now as we speak, PUBG currently has like 26,000 people watching it. Apex has 406,000, which is actually double Fortnite. Fortnite's coming in 190,000 viewers.
Yeah, but that's watching versus playing. I mean, that is quite a big difference.
One other thing I found interesting about Apex is that they in the development they brought in loads of key influencers, like big players like Shroud. I think Dr. Disrespect was on there as well, and Ninja. So these are like the big people that put in huge numbers on Twitch, and they all are those obviously, and I'm sure tons of others as well. But those are the three big ones I know. They're obviously massive into shooters. They all have huge audiences on Twitch and YouTube, and and also I think like in the last week or so, Ninjas had to say, I think he and the rest of them all did hashtag ad tweets saying Apex Legends is out, become a legend, all that sort of stuff, and to get the game out there. But over last week, Ninja said, look, this is not an ad, this game is genuinely brilliant. And I'm sure they've all had to sort of step back and say, look, like we helped in it, we were early on in development, we're sort of there, but this is a genuinely great game. But this isn't us being paid now. But it's just interesting that a game like this can come out and they can court these big influencers early on, and if they get that, if you get like the 3 or 5 biggest streamers to start playing this in the first week or so, that's going to get hundreds of thousands of people also excited for the game. It's like, it's just interesting. And now I'm not sure if it's that's kicked this game off massively so, but I know like Shroud had like 100,000 people watching him play on the first few days. Ninja, I follow him on Instagram and Twitter and stuff, and like most of the videos in the last week or so have just been Apex. I haven't seen him play Fortnite as much. Dr. Disrespect is absolutely killing it with always like Apex content. It's just interesting that if you caught these big players in like the Twitch influencer space, then a game can do well, I think. But
when you say caught, do you mean are they paying them?
Paid, yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Then they're paying them to play it, then, aren't they? Just call it what it is.
They paid them, to test it early on, but now apparently they're not. But it's just interesting that getting these people, in early doors to shout about the game can have a massive ramification, a massive push early on when the game comes out. It's just a shame, like that. Radical Heights didn't do this. We could be in a totally different.
I mean, Lawbreakers, that deserved to do a lot better than it did.
Mm-hmm. It did, yeah. But if you start getting these big people on board, then I think that's enough to kickstart. I mean, also it's a brilliant game, and people will be loving it regardless. But It's interesting to see where we're going to be in like a month or two's time. It seems to be going from strength to strength.
The hype's going to die down, or I mean, I think just the appeal of, because like obviously Blackout did well in that it was like, guys, it's Battle Royale, but with like really good tight shooting, which, you know, that was a new thing. And now this has come along. It's like, oh, yeah, it's Blackout, but it's free. And that's big for a lot of people. Like not having to pony up 50 quid to get that, you know, that quality shooting in a Battle Royale game is a big deal. And especially, you know, the fact that they've layered over the sort of Overwatch style character abilities, and
it's also had like a knock-on effect for Titanfall 2, which has seen an uptick in like players. It's got like more than 10,000 people playing again now, which is great. You know, that's a good thing.
Yeah, I was really pleased to see that, because I mean, we'll get onto this, but yeah, I was like, so I've played a bit of Apex Legends, and I was like, I do really miss Titanfall 2. And then it turned out I still had it installed, and I can just play it whenever I want. Who knew that? And I guess other people have done the same. It's also like on sale everywhere. It's like about £3 or no, it's about £5 on PSN and Xbox Live, I believe. And like I just did a tweet just saying like, oh, by the way, you know, if you're enjoying Apex Legends, Titanfall 2 is also cheap, which did like really well. So that was odd. But yeah, it's just interesting that a lot of people have got sort of, like people like me sort of kind of being dickheads and being like, oh, but I miss the wall running and the big robots. And then remembering that Titanfall 2 still exists. But
it's still out there.
It is, and it's cheap, and it's really good.
Yeah, I mean, the Battle Pass starting in March is interesting, because obviously that's still, well, at least 2 weeks away. You know, and within that time frame, games like Anthem are going to come out. And then, like, obviously, Division 2 is out in early March.
Yeah.
It's like, I wonder if that is going to, like, that's a dodgy time to suddenly be saying, oh, yeah, because obviously they want these millions of people to start paying this, like, $10, whatever it's going to be for this Battle Pass, if it's anything like the same sort of cost as Fortnite and stuff. That's going to be a huge test, because if everything is blowing up, then March is fine. Like Anthem and Division 2 aren't going to make a dent in it, really. But
I'd be more worried if I was BioWare. Let's be honest, at this stage, if it's like so this has just come out, which has kind of stolen the thunder from what happened from that like Anthem beta, and then you're like, okay, we're just about to launch the game, and then they're just about to launch a Battle Pass at the same time. It's it's not so good.
No.
Yeah.
It's
interesting. It's going to be super interesting, like next 6 to 8 weeks, to see what happens with all these games like hitting at the same time. And
yeah. But as you say, it is an interesting, test of like, this is how you market a game now. As it turns out, you basically just surprise release it. You don't charge any money for it, and you get loads of influencers involved. And unfortunately, that's just. I mean, I know they got like real press involved as well. But the numbers speak for themselves, don't they? This is how you market a game now.
I was listening to, gamesindustry.biz, they do like a podcast, and they talked to EA about this, like why was it like suddenly released? And they said it's because of the negativity around most things related to EA at the moment. they didn't want to give people time to like sort of build up sort of a hate for it. So
they're right.
Better to just drop it, and then you haven't got that problem.
Yeah, it's like they knew it was really good, so why not just let people play it? And it's interesting.
Yeah, the build-up, people picking it apart.
In my mind, like most EA studios are like, oh, it's EA, but it sort of feels like Respawn, like, oh, we still love Respawn. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
they're
sort of immune,
EA.
aren't they?
Everyone still loves them. So.
But that's not it though, is it? Because I don't think it's the studios that people hate with EA. It's EA, like it's the publisher side of it. It's like everyone loves BioWare and like the other companies.
Yeah, because like the conversation we had about Anthem, it wasn't Anthem is shit. It's Anthem may not be given the chance to become everything it can be, because of EA, not because of BioWare. But
we'll come on to EA in a minute because there's more stuff with them. So anyway, moving on. Some former Telltale devs have started their own studio. This is 4 people, and it's called Ad Hoc Studio. And their plan, because they're going to continue focusing on sort of narrative style experiences, and they basically in the interview, which we'll put in the notes, maybe in the show notes, they talked about how when they were working at Telltale, there was a lot of things they wanted to do, like to push things a bit further, but they really couldn't because the size of the team was so big. They were kind of like Telltale had become very risk averse, and that's why they were just sort of doing the same thing like a lot of the time. And a good example of this was like how long it took for like the Minecraft story mode to get onto Netflix. You know, it's like it took ages and ages. But what's interesting is that in this interview that hopefully you'll put in there, Matt, they talked a lot about how they were more interested in looking at other platforms for telling stories, and they talked a lot about like Bandersnatch, like off Netflix, and how this is something that maybe they want to look at. Like they didn't confirm anything, but they strongly hinted that they were looking more at the idea of like using like real actors and that kind of thing to create like narrative experiences that had like choices and that, you know, that kind of stuff. So that's kind of interesting. I mean, I think it's kind of a shame because I still like the video game style of, you know, like playing narrative games in that way. I wasn't entirely convinced by Bandersnatch.
Yeah, but
we never talked about
this,
did we?
We
said we were going to discuss it and then never did. I thought it was like technically incredible, like just how smooth it was in terms of making decisions and the way it just smooths over the, like, obviously it's like changing video file at some point or whatever, and there's I think the inner workings of it were really intricate. I think like narratively a lot of the like clever things it does have actually all been done. But I understand it's very much for a new audience. So a lot of people did like get their minds blown by it. So fine. I
thought it was actually the same. I thought technically is really impressive the way it worked, and it was cool in that respect. But yeah, I mean, like these things have been done in games for a fairly long time and done much better. I like a few people in the office were talking about it, and we sort of it sort of became obvious that those people hadn't really played much in the way of games recently, and so not the narrative ones. So like, it's really cool how you can change things on the fly, and it is cool for a TV show, absolutely. Yeah. But I think I've sort of seen it done better. I think generally as a Black Mirror episode, I think it's one of the weaker ones actually. Yeah, it had some cool moments, and I like after my first trip through it ended. I can't remember the ending, but it was a really poor one. It went out straight to credits and then straight back into it. So even my first one, I wasn't even 100% sure if it had even finished. Anyway, I went back and saw a bunch of other endings, and I saw some cool endings to it. But it was just, it was
because
technically cool, but didn't do much for me other than that.
Like early on, I made a wrong choice, and then it sort of, and it starts like rewinding and just like, oh, fuck me, is it going to make me do everything again? And then it doesn't. Like it skips. Like, it skips that, like then skips forward effectively to, where you made the wrong decision. And
the problem with that is that it didn't feel like any choices had like real like consequences.
Well, there's that
like
as well, yeah. And so like at first I was like, all right, cool. So it's not going to feel like a chore, if I get things wrong. But then towards the end, it's as you say, Matt, like when you're trying to sort of pick your way through to get like a half decent ending, that felt like a lot of repetition and going back and be like, hang on. So if I made this decision at this point, it then forked off this way, and then that, and trying to figure out where you had to go back to fix it, and just that got a bit of a chore towards the end. But no, as I say, like I don't know if you've played any of like Netflix's sort of multiple choice stuff prior to this. I've only ever seen Buddy Thunderstruck. There's an interactive episode of that. Buddy Thunderstruck is an amazing kids show that's actually just genuinely really funny. But that's literally like. Okay, now do we do this or do we do this? And it's like, here's a really obvious 30-second looping bit while you make a choice, and then you press the one you want and it pauses and it's like, okay, then we'll do this. And like it's really clunky in comparison, whereas the way it's done in Bandersnatch is like really like slick. So yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I haven't played that Minecraft story mode either. Have you, James? Because your kids are into Minecraft, aren't
they? Yeah, my daughter is. But yeah, I've not bothered looking at it. Maybe I should. But I've not bothered.
Watching Bandersnatch and also playing games like Life is Strange, I'm like, that can't be a very cost-effective way of doing it. Obviously, if you have a vision and you want to do it with real actors and stuff, then awesome. But I don't know, for like a new company, and I don't know the finances, but a new company saying, we're going to target that. I was like, well, seems like a very expensive way of doing interactive narrative. But
I mean, I suppose the short
guess.
answer is that Netflix aren't really fussed about being cost effective at the moment, are they? They seem to just piss money away and laugh all
They
day.
did make profit for the first time ever last quarter.
Did they?
But next quarter they've always said they're going to be in the red. So yeah. They made like $97 million. It's the first time they ever made profit. But next quarter they're already going to be $150 million in the red. Except for other investments, I guess. But
brilliant.
Yeah.
Just one final thing on this news story. I enjoy the fact that it's like, so obviously the headline is former Telltale devs form ad hoc studio, and you're like, oh, brilliant. They've obviously some of them have banded together, and after it all fell apart and stuff, and that's really cool. Then you read the story, they all left ages ago.
Yeah, they're the ones. And also they said that they came up with all these ideas during the crunch nights as well. That's like when they were at Telltale, they were like talking about these are some of the conversations they had about how they could develop things further.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Have you started going back to Walking Dead yet, James?
No, I've downloaded it. I've got episodes 2 and 3. I haven't played yet, which I will. But yeah.
So are we well into Skybound stuff now? Is this?
Episode 3 is I think.
Yeah, episode 3 is. Well, yeah.
I haven't played Life is Strange yet either. I mean, there's that.
Yeah, Life is Strange is.
Yeah, you shouldn't play that so we can do the spoiler cast.
Yeah, there's a question about that later, isn't there? Yeah, yeah.
Okay. This is a short story. This is really short. So Microsoft has now changed the name of their studios. They're no longer Microsoft Studios. They're now Xbox Game Studios instead. And that's pretty much it. But what I thought was because the reason I included this is because it's really talking about how this is how they're sort of repositioning like their games division and how it's sort of going to change. Do you want me to read the quote we got here?
Yeah.
He says, so this is it's Matt Booty, who's the corporate vice president. So he said, today Xbox is our gaming brand across all devices, no matter how or where you want to play or who you want to play with. So it's like this is not just tied to the platform anymore. It's actually going to be everywhere. And they've now got this 13 game studios. And I didn't realise. I looked in it. I was like, actually, they have got a lot of really good studios now. It's like there's like tons of them. I mean, can you guys name any of them at all? Can you remember any of the ones they've got?
Trying to think.
So I've got this article open in front of me, but
Matt.
Go on then.
Ninja Theory, is that one? No.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, they've got loads.
Yeah, and there's quite a lot of really good ones as well.
Okay, so, like Rare, Obsidian Entertainment, 343, Ninja Theory. Who are the others?
Maybe not Rare, but they've got some.
Hey.
Like they've got. I think there's like Obsidian. They're really good. They've got they've got Mojang obviously, which is one of their big things, and Obsidian.
So is Sumo part of Xbox, or is Sumo just developing Crackdown?
They're not part of Xbox. No,
I was going to say yeah. But yeah, I think it's interesting. Obviously, like before there was Microsoft. I guess at that point they're like they wanted to push the Microsoft brand more than anything. But now it's clear that no, it's not about Microsoft or Windows Phone. It's just about Xbox as Xbox as a platform, regardless of the device, rather than the device housing the content.
I think that is like a bit of a branding hurdle to get over, though, because I understand they're saying that Xbox is the gaming brand, whereas I, as a Windows 10 user, I'm a bit like, but I don't have an Xbox. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it is confusing because there's also the Xbox app, isn't there, for Windows?
Yeah, but I don't see it as like, oh, I'm gonna load up my Xbox game, Forza Horizon 4. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To me, it's just a PC game. But
you think I'm gonna load up my Microsoft Game Studios game?
Yeah.
But I guess that this obviously sort of links nicely with the thing from last week about Xbox Live being on loads of different platforms and and stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's just like a name change. I don't think it's going to be massive, but it makes sense given they're focusing on the games and they're not pushing the Microsoft brand. Xbox is the brand now. It's time they're sort of like moved away from that really. Yeah.
Okay. Also, I mean, this is another weird bit of news, but Disney says it's happy with EA's Star Wars work. And I mean,
good for them.
I heard about this.
Yeah, I mean, they've said that they've got a good relationship with EA and have no interest in making their own games again. And this was Bob Iger from Disney. He says, we're good at making movies and television shows and theme parks and cruise ships and the like. We've just never managed to demonstrate much skill on the publishing side of games. And he said that they were good at licensing them, though. So it's like, they're good at owning the brand and then just making money off it, but not very good at creating stuff, it seems. And but they've also, I mean, they confirmed that Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order would be out by the end of this year.
Right.
But it is, I mean, what about that though? Because they have done it. It's just it always felt like they never gave anything long enough to really sort of get good, did they? Was it like they had all those studios where they wasn't Blur from them as well? Like, didn't they own that?
Oh, I don't know. Did they?
I'm sure it was Blur.
Yeah, it could have been.
I don't know. There always seems to be like a Disney cycle with this stuff, where they would like build up a bunch of studios, start doing loads of stuff, and then shut them down really quickly when it didn't like take off immediately. But
Well, when I heard about this one, it just felt like they just threw any previous Star Wars game under the bus. Like, I mean, not there's been a lot of good ones, but it's just basically saying, all the others, they've all been shit, so that's what we do now. Also, it just feels like they just, either we, the gamers, are making a much bigger deal with EA's failings, or Disney just don't care and don't understand how much we all think it's a fuck up, and all these cancelled games, and the fact they don't really seem to be doing an awful lot of anything good with the license.
Yeah, I mean, as we said,
like, look, we're making some money, it's fine.
Yeah, like Disney are getting paid for the license either way. And yeah, if they're just fully not interested in taking it on themselves, then of course they're happy, I guess.
I guess they're happy until it like hits some. But I thought, I mean, I guess this was just either bollocks at the time or whatever. But I'm sure when all the Battlefront 2 stuff came out, like, well, there was talk about like Disney were getting involved and kicking off and stuff. I guess that probably wasn't the case, or I mean, but even if it was the case, they're not going to be saying on this conference call or whatever. It's like what was it, like a finance?
It was an investor call. Wasn't it, that they do.
They're not going to be saying, "Oh yeah, we really fucked up with EA guys." They're not going to say that, are they? I guess, but yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. It just feels like they just don't care, and they don't need to care. If it's making them money, then that's it, isn't it? I guess.
Yeah. Weird.
But okay. I mean, I guess that really has to mean that Fallen Order will definitely be out this year. I mean, there's no way it can't not be now. They've told investors...
Apex Legends does really, really well, and then they just don't have time on it.
Yeah, but I mean, they've told investors it's coming out. Like, there's be a pretty major fuck up for them not to come out now.
I suppose they'd still have until the end of the financial year. It might be like early 2020, I guess. But
oh yeah, well, when I said this year, we meant this fiscal year. So
yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
What else we got? This is a lot of news, isn't it? I think we were hoping these were all going to be brief, weren't we? And they're all like actually interesting.
The news is really...
It is news heavy, and it's all bad news as well, like mostly. So I'm in my element here. This is
loving this.
Yeah, but you'll be the first one to complain when the recording runs over time, James. So
yeah. So it's 10 o'clock, guys.
Although, this story is not good news. It's terrible, and this is Activision are planning to cut hundreds of jobs.
Shit.
This is going to get announced on Tuesday, so that would have been yesterday when you're listening to this. And apparently the layoffs could number in the hundreds because they've decided they're going to centralise their business. According to this Bloomberg article, they at the end of 2017 they had like 9,800 people. So they're going to... sorry. That's terrible.
What?
Fuck. James, he can't hold his laughter back that hundreds of people are going to be laid off.
That's not fair at all, Sean, and that's not what I was doing. I just
whatever.
What were you doing?
Weird. My throat just went weird for a second.
That's terrible. It's like you've done a really, really bad part and you just couldn't really... You didn't... Oh, James.
No, I've got a bit of a sore throat. Okay. I lied at the beginning about being
I was going to say, you've got it on record that you're fine, mate, so don't...
Fibbing.
So anyway... Last November, in a conference call, Activision had stated that Overwatch and Hearthstone had kind of flat or declining numbers of users, and also disappointing sales of Destiny 2. And a load of also last year, like quite a lot of executives also left the company.
They should have added. They should have added Battle Royale to Overwatch. We're doing perfect.
Yeah,
imagine that.
So I don't know about that because I don't play any of these games. But that does seem to be. I mean, I don't hear as much now about Overwatch as I did. Has it sort of started to?
I don't know. I mean, like when the tournaments are on and stuff.
I was going to say, that's the only thing I hear is
but,
like the esports scene, really.
Yeah, but then I don't know. I'm not saying it doesn't, but I don't know how that makes Overwatch money. Do you know what I mean? Like everyone who's watching that already owns the game, as far as I'm aware. No one's watching, but this looks cool. I'm going to go out and buy it. But maybe I'm missing the point.
maybe they advertise cosmetics or something.
Possibly, yeah.
We need some more. He can tell us why it's great still.
Yes.
So,
Tamor, get in touch. I'm sure he'll have stuff.
Please
on
do.
To say.
I mean, Hearthstone, I used to play quite a bit, but personally, I just sort of became exhausted with how often new things seem to be coming out, which I know is really it seems really backwards. Like, if you're enjoying a game, of course, it should be a great thing that there's new stuff like single player and new cards coming out all the time. But after a while, you're just like, look, I'm not spending any more money. Bugger off. I'm it just, and because every time this happens, the meta shifts with it, and a lot of your decks are suddenly shit, and you have to this constant need to keep up. It just becomes a bit tiresome, really. So I can see why that's leveling out as well.
Yeah. So you're one of people directly mentioned in this article, and you are one of the flat or decline number of users, Sean.
I guess so, yeah.
And then, of course, Destiny 2 Forsaken,
Which is brilliant. So fuck everyone who hasn't bought it.
But it's reduced annual revenue by as much as 400 million.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but basically said the company parted ways with its developer Bungie, a move which could reduce annual revenue by as much as 400 million. So
okay,
that's Bungie making a shitload of money.
So that's how much money. Right,
and they're like, we don't want to give it to our higher ups. We'll have it ourselves, and I don't blame them, frankly. Yeah.
Okay, next story is that so the next story is EA basically talking about Battlefield 5 and how it didn't do what they were hoping. So they sold 7.3 million copies, but they were apparently this missed expectations by a million. So they were expecting 8.3 million copies, I presume.
I mean, 7.3 is nothing to be sniffed at, is it?
No, but then that wasn't it like that. I mean, what did Dead Space sell? Because that was the whole thing with that, wasn't it? How they were expecting it was going to sell 10 million or something stupid, and then it didn't, and then they got upset. And it's just, I mean, that's the thing when you're selling 7.3 million copies, maybe it's missing expectations, but that is still a lot, isn't it? I don't know. But
it's still a lot, but obviously, they and investors have expected a certain thing, and if it misses it, then the investors aren't happy, and that's not good for your share price and stuff. But yeah,
maybe the investors should be a bit less greedy, Matthew.
Well, then they wouldn't be investors, would they? That's what they do.
So anyway, Andrew Wilson said, so he's the EA president, and he said it was because there wasn't enough momentum around the game when it came out. And he said, our launch didn't resonate as strongly as we would have liked it with players, and we were never truly able to catch up with our competitors, such as Fortnite, Red Dead Redemption 2, or Call of Duty.
Again, three of the biggest games, Red Dead, one of the biggest games of the generation, Fortnite, one of the biggest games of millenniums,
come on, steady on, mate.
No. I was thinking of another word. No, don't matter. Basically, a huge thing in gaming, basically. And Call of Duty obviously is Call of Duty.
Yeah. So he then said that they're going to start looking at the creative side of their games.
I was thinking of phenomenon. That was the word I was thinking about. We got there in the end.
Okay,
too much lemsip.
So anyway. They said they were going to go back and look at the creative side of their games, and they were going to build this formal process for how to find a game's creative centre, and they're calling this the reason to play. So they're which is quite funny when I read this. It's this fine. They got to figure out why people should play their games, but then. That sounds okay. So it sounds like they're talking about creativity, and we need to sort of reinvigorate these games that we're making and think about why people are playing them. But then the rest of it is all basically about the creativity isn't actually necessarily talking about the gameplay or anything like that. It's talking about the marketing.
Yeah, they've really thrown marketing under the bus in this piece. I'm not happy with it at all.
Because it just keeps on talking about how we need to have more innovative and creative marketing campaigns. And to bring the stuff to market, and how there needs to be proper project to develop the games, and this kind of stuff. It's just
that's somewhat fair, because marketing can only market what they've got in front of them. And if the game isn't terribly inspirational or different or new, I mean, it didn't even have, and still hasn't got the battle royale mode, so it can't even jump on that. So it's just Battlefield 5. It made some changes with spotting and some other things, and other games the phenomenon that is Fortnite and other games are out. It's so unfair just to throw marketing under the bus, because, sure, you can do massive marketing campaigns, but at the end of the day, if you're just marketing another Battlefield game, which seems to not having moved the needle that much, it's just throwing under the bus.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that was the issue more than anything else. It was I played the beta and it was great, but I've not. Yeah, I don't know. I was like, well, to me, it didn't present anything really obviously new.
Yeah.
It was just a very good Battlefield game, which is fine.
I wonder if... Sorry, Sean.
No, sorry, I was just saying, which is fine, but I don't know, for me it needed something different, I guess.
I mean, I just wonder if, nowadays there's so many of these games that are like, like Fortnite, now we've got like Apex Legends, all these like, games as a service kind of stuff. These like annual release games, it's starting to feel even more like, why are they doing that? Do you know what I mean? It's, seeing as there's these other ones which are like constantly evolving all the time, and then you've got something which it's like they must be developing to like a moving target all the time. The fact that whatever they're doing, it's like they're trying to get it out by the end of the year, and then by the time it comes out, it's already kind of out of date or whatever. It's
because it started development 3 years ago, and it's it's like, guys, just build a platform and just meddle.
Just keep innovating on it.
Yeah.
But what I think is funny is that obviously they did their Battle Royale mode wasn't at launch, and at the time of launch, people were more interested in Black Ops 4 and its like Blackout mode. But then they said, okay, we're not releasing the Battle Royale mode until March, and I was like, actually, maybe that is a good thing. Like, people get their fill of Black Ops 4, and by March, maybe people will be like ready to go back into it. But now I'm like thinking, well, it's March in 2 weeks, and people will be like knee deep in Apex Legends. And also Division or Anthem. And it's like, at this point, they're like, are we... What's the point, in many ways? Like, that isn't going to have a big bang either, is it? I don't think.
If they bring out the Battle Royale mode, and it's brilliant, and by that point, the game's £25, I might probably have a go.
But maybe. But then, like, you can play Apex Legends and Fortnite for free.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where the problem is with this, I think.
Yeah, but Battlefield has always been a different proposition. I mean, it arguably is the game out of all these that would probably be best suited to a Battle Royale mode. It's always had the huge landscapes, it's had the vehicles and stuff. I'll be interested to see what they do with it, but it's going to need to be something pretty special now to get its head above all the other games that are happening around the same time. Poor old Battlefield. Hasn't had a very good time.
Again, though, like I say, 7.3 million.
Yeah, it's not a small amount.
It's great. It interests me that I've heard no one talking about it. Like, I didn't know it was out for a while.
7.3 million are keeping awfully quiet.
Yeah.
Why didn't like EA pay Ninja to play it or something? Well, that's it. Pay him, Shroud, and Doctor Disrespect, and it's they would have sold 8.3.
Doesn't it seem mad that like. Are they still the biggest publisher? One of the biggest publishers in the world can just still be like, I don't know, we messed up. Like, do you not pay the best marketing people in the world to do this? Like, I know, like, obviously it's not that simple, and as you say, it depends on what the game's offering and all the rest of it, and and marketing is like a constantly changing thing. But you also just like, how is that good enough that a company that size spending that much money on a game is just like, drop the ball on that one. Sorry, guys. I don't know. It's bizarre.
But, I mean, all that money doesn't really mean much. I mean, like obviously, famously, Destiny, the original Destiny, they spent like 500 million on marketing for that game, and loads of people that played a bit and said, "There's nothing here. It's not enough. I'm off." It's like, oh wow.
Yeah. I don't know. Weird.
But this piece just did my head in, because it's just like, well, marketing fucked up, so it's their fault in a way. But it is good that they're now focusing on finding reasons to play their games. That's an interesting tactic.
That was that. Yeah, that just when I saw
maybe
that.
Start with that. I don't know.
As soon as I saw that, I was like, "This has got to be a news story," because that's an amazing line. We're going to look for a reason for it to play our stuff. Awful.
Right.
Last story is just. I mean, shall we do this one or not bother?
Well, we started, so we're finished. Let's just crack on.
All right, well, this is another bad news story, which is, it's just Nintendo talking about... Well, not really, is it? I mean, this is Nintendo saying they haven't reached their 20 million sales target, and they've only got 17, so they're 3 million short. And
embarrassing.
Yeah, and they're just saying it's because of lower than expected results in the first 9 months of last year. And... but also, the president, like Shintaro Furukawa, just said this is because they hadn't done enough to convey the appeal of the Switch, and saying that not enough people were into it.
I don't feel like that's true. I
No,
think it's just
I don't think it's
not
that.
enough first-party stuff
Exactly.
going on.
But they're not going to say that to their was this
true.
also to their is this a financial thing as well? Or is this just a general? Yeah,
It was financial as well. Yeah,
they're not going to say, well, actually, we basically released next to nothing apart from obviously Smash towards the end of the year and Pokemon and loads of ports. They can't say that, but I mean, because the whole they haven't conveyed the appeal of the Switch. I mean, the word of mouth does that. I think enough, don't they? I don't feel hang on, is this something I can both dock and play handheld? I think most people know that. It's just what games are out right now. It's well. Hasn't been a banging year.
Yeah, it's that thing of the appeal of the Switch is actually it's sort of not older, but sort of late 20s, early 30s, where you'd I still play games a lot, but it's not particularly convenient, or my partner's using the telly or whatever. And to us, the Switch really appeals because of just the convenience of it. But then if you go to most people sort of our sort of age and you explain that, they're like, cool, that sounds great, can I get Call of Duty on it or whatever? And it's that's not so much a thing on the Switch. It's got fucking tons of indie games which are brilliant, but they're not system sellers in the same way. And I think that's always going to hurt it a bit.
Well, that's always hurt them, hasn't it? Over the last couple of generations, is that? And there's always this sort of feeling that I wonder whether it's really Nintendo's audience is really probably about 30 to 40 million people, worldwide, are people that will buy their consoles, but it's not. I mean, the Wii was different because that really was a breakout kind of thing. But if you look at the other consoles they've released, they've always sort of settled around those kind of numbers. Whether you think that is probably about their level, I don't know. Looking forward to somebody telling me I'm wrong. Is this going to actually change Nintendo and actually say, okay, well, we need to do more with the games? They say they want to, in this quote, they want to further enrich the software lineup and convey its appeal to customers. I mean, just get some games out. I mean, how do you think this dovetails with the thing we talked about last week about the cheaper Switch and a smaller one potentially?
Maybe.
Well, the trouble is, it's all done, isn't it, for this year? Probably they must have already got their plans for this year all sorted out. So,
well, this is the thing, and it's all very well as saying there's not enough first-party games, but Nintendo, they won't rush that stuff because they know it's more important to keep the reputation than.
Even when they release big Wii U ports I'm sure everyone wants Mario Maker or was it Super Mario 3D Land. I don't know if they're even going to be system sellers. They'll be like, oh, brilliant, I missed out on the Wii U, or I played it but loved it, I want to play it again. That stuff isn't really going to translate into hardware sales either.
They weren't system sellers on the Wii U, were they? So no. I don't think it. I've always viewed those as being really nice extras. That some people get to play those that didn't because they didn't buy a Wii U, but they're not ones that are going to make people really sit up and take notice.
No. Maybe Animal Crossing will be that first one this year. Who knows?
I doubt it. It will do very well because they always do, but it's not really. Again, that's not really a system seller, really.
I guess what they need to do is they will have a cheaper Switch, and then they'll be able to capture the 3DS market or the DS market that maybe right now they're a bit too expensive for.
That's the point. Yeah, start capturing the younger.
Yeah. Because I guess that's what made the DS and 3DS and the previous handheld so popular, is that you could get that in a game for 100, 150 quid, great Christmas present, pretty hard-wearing.
It's got the Pokemons on it. It's got the Mario on it.
Exactly, but I don't know many parents would be like, I'll buy that 350 quid thing for, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a bit, it's not quite in that same bracket, is it? So,
Yeah.
And
that's it. That's all the news.
What bloody hell, it only took us an hour.
It was, sorry.
The biggest around news.
Right.
It's all right. I've got virtually nothing for what you've been playing, though. So.
Oh, brilliant. Right, what have we been playing? James, do you want to go first?
Let's start the massive backlog.
Keep it brisk.
I've got really very little. I mean,
That's fine.
I've been mostly playing Red Dead Redemption 2, but as I've said so many times, I can't add much about it because it's all anything I want to say about the game is spoilers. Yeah. So it's just impossible to talk about. I've finished Chapter 6 now, though, and it's. The way that the story unfolds in that is one of the best things I've ever experienced in a game. I think it's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. What do you think about the Hunter? You finished Chapter 6. You haven't got any further, have you?
Well, no, I've gone into the
okay, cool.
what comes
what do
after
you think
that.
about the end? The last few missions and the ending of chapter 6.
Well, I can't say without spoiling it.
But you obviously thought it was fantastic, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I can't say without spoiling it because I can't think of a way to explain, because it's all about feelings. I mean, there was a point also. I mean, I was talking with David about this over messages during the week, and there was a point where he said to me, "Oh, there's something I want to talk to you about that happens in the game, and I want to know what you think." And it was funny because then something did happen, and then I messaged him, and he was like, "Yeah, that's exactly the moment I was talking about. There's something big. There's something that happens that really changed my perspective of the game, and it made me feel it made me have sort of significant feelings that I hadn't really had before with it because." But yeah, it was fantastic. I mean, it's true that the mission design and all that kind of stuff hasn't, Matt, you said about this in the Game of the Year show, that it hadn't really moved on, from GTA 5 and stuff like that. And that's true, but it's just all about the characters though, isn't it? Yeah. And they are the most compelling in a Rockstar game that I've ever played, and I love it, and I can't see. I'm not in any rush to end it really. I just Yeah, I mean, again, I can't say any more because otherwise I'll just spoil stuff. And but yeah, it's really good.
I obviously rushed through it, but it's an absolutely stunning story, and it's almost going to be a shame in many ways. When obviously the next GTA, I'm look forward to it. It'll be good in that. But GTA's characters have always been so 2D and parodies and caricatures.
Yeah,
it's I don't know if they ever would, but it would be amazing if they flipped it and did what they did with the characters in this game for GTA, made it a serious, in inverted commas, game. I mean, I guess GTA's
I
whole
hope they will, because
is the parody stuff, I guess, but...
Yeah, but the parody stuff in GTA, I think reality has surpassed it now, so I don't
really... You're totally right, actually.
I don't know if that would work anymore. So,
that's
it worked well
what
a few years
Rockstar
ago.
said. They were we can release Red Dead now because it works now, but we couldn't release a GTA at the moment because it's just, it is ridiculous what's going on. It's just it's too difficult.
But it would be amazing if they had the characters and story and stuff of Red Dead, but in a GTA game, because the characters in this and the story is just so expertly told. It's amazing.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just super, really, really enjoy it. And I mean, I can understand why people don't like it in the beginning, because it does take a while to get going, but. It just becomes so comfortable to play, and just so enjoyable to be in the world. And I can't talk about it because I'll spoil stuff.
You will get shot.
Anyway, the other thing that I've played this week is I've played Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So I went back to that, and I've put about 10 hours into that now, totally over the last 2 weeks or so. And I've just got past the bit where I'd finished last time, because I played it a while and then I got rid of it.
Okay.
I've really found that JRPGs, more than any other genre of game that I play, I have to be in the right mood and the right sort of feeling to play it.
Yeah.
And I really found the first time I played this game, I was not in the right sort of frame of mind for it, and that's why I kind of wasn't really interested in continuing with it. But for some reason at the moment, I'm really feeling more forgiving of all the sort of JRPG bullshit that the game has. And it is bullshit because there's a lot of stupid stuff in it. I mean, I spent 45 minutes looking for a plant the other day. You just wandering around. They got these collection points where you just dig in the ground and it'll randomly generate the resources that from the ground, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's because it's random, you don't know what you're going to get. And I spent about 45 minutes just trying to get one specific type of plant for a quest. But for some reason, I kind of enjoyed doing it. I didn't care. I was just wandering around. The music was good, and it was fine, and I didn't really mind too much. And, I mean, that's the weak point of the game I've found so far, is it does have, these ridiculous just, fetch quests of just, going from place to place, picking stuff up, and it does get a bit, ridiculous. But the environment is so beautiful that I didn't really care too much. It was kind of okay. And the story at the moment is moving along at, a kind of a sort of reasonable but sort of really predictable sort of pace, and the characters are all okay. I mean, after Red Dead, it was nice to be in this world instead, because this is a kind of a much more upbeat in a way. I mean, it's still got the usual sort of anime style drama and everything, but it's a different kind of sort of to stuff like Red Dead.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's going to take me ages to finish this game because I know it's massive. I've only just started. I think it's chapter 3 I'm on now, so I've got a very, very long way to go. But as I said, you just have to be in the right mood, and at the moment I happen to be. But I'm hoping that mood isn't going to change, because often it does when I play these games, and then I'm just like, oh, I can't do another 50 hours of this. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, because I would get that, because I played a fair bit of Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Wii U, and it's like you'd be in the right frame of mind, and you would do a mission, like a story mission, where one of your objectives is to find a certain item, and like you just Google it, and it's like, oh, you have to go in like this one specific cave in this one corner of the map, and you're okay, and you go and do it, and you have an okay time, and then 3 days later, you just be like, hang on, what the fuck? Like, if I wasn't able to look that up, like, which poor sod found that out?
Yeah.
And then put it on the internet for everyone else. Like, that must have been fucking miserable.
Well, that's the thing, because when I spent 45 minutes trying to find this plant, I didn't look it up for quite a long time.
Yeah.
And I began to become convinced that this thing didn't even exist, because it was just ridiculous. Like, the amount of times that I just kept on trying to find it. Yeah. And then in the end, I found that there is a kind of a trick to it, like of how you can. I looked it up, and there is a way of doing it. But that is the kind of stuff that I don't like with these games, and also like the grind that you get as well. I mean, that's the other thing which always irritates me. Yeah. And also the battles in this are like. The battle system is fine. I quite enjoy the way that it works, but it's just really chaotic, like total chaos, like what's going on. Because you've got if you've got 3 groups like in your party, it means you've got like 6 characters or whatever, all just like shouting commands, all just like fighting, and it's utter chaos. You haven't got a clue what's going on hardly on the screen. But it's still, I don't know. At the moment, it's still charming for me. So I'll keep going with it. It's been all right.
That is.
And the only other thing I played is Deadly Premonition, which I played on Friday, which I've been putting off talking about because, I mean, I had a bit of a nightmare with this on Friday. And, well, mostly because the stream that I did was all mostly based around combat, and it was in this sort of like maze-like building that was like a mill or something. And it was really, like, for the first, I don't know, probably for the first hour of the stream, I was getting quite hacked off with it, because it's just, the combat is not good at all, and the puzzles and stuff in inverted commas, and not terribly interesting or whatever. But then, and then there's also like these you have this encounter with this guy in a red raincoat who like chases you around the place, and it's got
that was brilliant though.
Well, yeah, for you maybe, but not for me, because it's got these QTEs, which are ridiculous, because they pop up like incredibly quickly and then are over really quickly as well. And like there's one of them where you have to like get the stick and you have to like do it like left and right as fast as you can, but then it will suddenly pop up and say press A, but then it will just do it like really, really quickly. So that like if you're like really hammering the stick to try and like move, it's quite difficult to then press A. And if you watch the video, you'll see why that is. It's because I was doing it in a stupid way, but it's still quite difficult. But the other problem with it is because I was trying to explain, because somebody said, "Why is it you're so bad with like the with the QTEs?" It's partly because I haven't played on Xbox like very much for like a long time, and I've got used to specifically like the switch button layout for like A, B, X, and Y, and it's different on the Xbox, and so I keep messing up with that as well, because like my brain keeps on choosing the wrong ones. And I'm just really glad that I'm playing this on normal, because if I was I'm playing it on easy. Yeah. If I was playing this even on normal, I think I'd lose it, because I was getting really, really fed up like towards the end of it. But then the last 15 minutes saved it for me, because it started to it went back to the dialogue again and like having these conversations, and it was brilliant. Like because the thing about this game is the combat stuff is really terrible, but the atmosphere, like outside of that, is brilliant, and I really do like it, because it is very sort of like, it's obviously going for the Twin Peaks stuff, but it's done it it's so much more effective at doing that than anything like David Cage and all that kind of stuff has done. It's really, really like odd in a really good way. And there was this whole sequence which, I mean, Matt, did you see that stuff?
Yeah,
with
I watched the stream.
Yeah, because there was basically. Can I spoil any of this? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm sure you can spoil it. Yeah,
it's fine.
I mean, there's this one bit where, because you find out that the guy who's supposed to be the killer has got this like mark on his back, to like say that this is somebody, that the person who's done these like this murder.
Right.
And so he comes out of the building, and there's the woman like police officer, and then there's this guy like the sheriff or whatever. And he just starts saying to them, "Oh, I need to I want to examine you to make sure it's not you, so I can like rule you out of my like investigation."
Right.
And then she's all just like, oh, well, I don't really want to do that or whatever. And he's like, just show me your back. And then she's all like, oh, it's okay, and then she just takes her clothes off, and then just like, they like sort of do this like slow pan up her back, but it's all like really, really bright for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why. But then she keeps on saying like, are you satisfied now and everything? And the guy is just York is just standing there, just like smoking, like watching her, which is just really, really, really odd. And then he asks the other dude to do it, and he's like this sheriff, and then she's like saying to him stuff like, "Go on, just flash your back," and all this, and it's just really odd, but really funny. It really made me laugh.
Was like, look, the other male cop is like, look, are you sure you want to do this to the female? Like, you don't have to show me back. It's like, this is a form of harassment. We don't have to show you our backs if we don't want to.
Yeah.
And it's like, and she's like, look, I'll do it just to get over and done with. I don't mind so much. And then like the weird slow pan, and it's a truly bizarre scene.
I mean, I started to nearly like have a coughing fit because it just was so odd. Like it was just it came out of nowhere as well, and it was but it was really good. I mean, that has made me excited to go back and play it again this Friday. Just get away from the combat stuff. Which fucking hell! I'm sorry, I'm getting the ignore me. But I just get away from the combat stuff, and the other stuff is. I'm beginning to feel it's borderline genius. It's very good.
The dialogue and stuff, and like the weird music and the music being too loud for the dialogue and all that stuff is great. Whereas the combat is just really clunky, and that can't get away with being weird and clunky. That's just not satisfying and hard to play or whatever. But
it's also the fact that there's only about 3 music tracks in the whole game, and it just keeps on and it always feels like they're randomly just choosing one of them to play at any given moment, which is brilliant. It's just it's very, very fun. So I'm looking forward to getting back to that. But that's about all I've played this week. It's it's been a short week.
Cool. I'll do mine, I guess. Very briefly, Titanfall 2.
Oh yeah,
should play it. It's very good. Did you know?
I never actually got into playing that. I should do.
Oh shit.
One of it's on EA
Short
Access.
campaign, but it's good.
It is absolutely stunning, like, still. And you can regularly get a game online now because more people are playing it because of Apex Legends. It's still just absolutely flawless. There is nothing else quite like it. All the brilliant parkour stuff, like the shooting feels incredible. The whole, the interplay between Titans and pilots, the fact that it's got the rubbish AI enemies that... Like, if you're having a shit game, you can just focus on them and you're still contributing and feeling like you're doing something. It's, absolutely tremendous. If for any reason in 2019 you still do not own Titanfall 2, it is cheap and you should definitely play it. Like, it's unbelievable.
And even, the single player is good as well, isn't it?
The single player is wicked, man. Yeah. I only played through it once and will probably never go back. It is quite short, but, to me, that's a good thing. It's a stunning game. I think that's all I need to say. I finally got around to playing Subsurface Circular on Switch. This is another one. Bought it on PC ages ago, never got around to playing it. Bought it on Switch, then still didn't get around to playing it. And finally, the other day, I'm getting a bit sick of games that I bought on the Switch and then didn't give enough time to, so I'm sort of like making the effort to sort of go back and work through a few of them, and end up playing this. So this is by Mike Bithell of Thomas Was Alone fame, and I believe I heard him talk about this on a podcast, and I can't remember what podcast it was, but basically this was so I say it's by him, like obviously he's got a bit of a team together now, and I think it was like a weird scheduling thing. It was like they were waiting for a green light on a new project, I think, and they had 6 months to kill. And he sort of thought, like, well, all his like employees, like he could just let them go and then try and get them back in 6 months, but that probably wasn't going to be a good idea. He'd rather just keep the team he had. So he's like, right, what can we occupy ourselves with for a few months? And this is what he made. It's it is basically like a text adventure, I guess, but it's all like you're a robot on a train, on an underground train, and so this train is purely for getting robots around this city, and like it sort of explains early on that like you can't actually leave the train, like your job is to be on the train, and you are a detective, you solve crimes. or just mysteries in general. And all you do is you sit there and you talk to other robots who get on the train, and then you talk to them, and then they get off, and then someone else gets on, and you talk to them instead. And despite the fact that that's all you do, and like you don't see any other environments, you literally don't move from this one spot on this train.
You just see like text bubbles, don't you? Is that it?
Yeah, basically, yeah. So like the environment's like all it's 3D and stuff, and like you can sort of pan around by sort of moving the switch around, which is a nice little touch. And like I say, it's a text adventure. Like the designs and the look of the robots is like they're really nicely done. Like it's such a stylish game. But yeah, basically it's all just like it's just chatting with other robots and trying to solve. So you meet this robot early on who's just like, look, robots are disappearing, and no one knows why. And you're like, all right. Let's see if we can find out why. And
let's investigate by never leaving this train carriage.
Yeah, exactly. It's just let's talk to people, see what happens. And it gets like a lot more interesting than that. It's very like if you like sci-fi and you've seen a lot of it, it does sort of go through some like quite familiar sort of like, oh, what if we had robots that were basically people? What does that mean? And could they replace us, or should they? And how what effect would that have? It sort of gets into that stuff.
David Cage.
Yeah. It gets into that stuff, and yeah, it's like on that front, it's not terribly original, but it's so well written, and the ways in which it fleshes out the world just by you chatting to robots on a train is fascinating. It's really skillfully done. So yeah, I played through that and really enjoyed it, to the point that I then went and bought the sequel immediately and finished that as well. So I think it was only like a month or two ago they released Quarantine Circular, which is similar sort of game, but a completely different premise. In this one, you're on this isn't a spoiler, this is revealed like almost, well, basically in the trailers, but like immediately when you play it. You're on this like this boat in the middle of the ocean, and basically there's a plague that's wiping out millions of people, and an alien has arrived.
As they do.
And basically you starting the game is you're the guy who calibrates the translation software, and you're like basically the first person to make real contact with this alien, and it's all about figuring out the alien's role, if any, with regards to the plague, and it's like it feels a lot more accomplished as like a work of science fiction than the first one did. Again, deals with sort of familiar stuff. Like, James, you'll enjoy this. It's very sort of Prime Directive-y. Like it's one of those moral dilemmas, but with like roles reversed, like humanity being on the receiving end, which is really interesting and not something you see a lot. And yeah, again, just really beautifully written. Really, like again, in terms of location, you never leave the deck of this ship. But the way it fleshes out the world again is just really beautifully done. Like the writing is just really brisk but descriptive, and yeah, it's just really smart. Like loads of likable characters, some proper shitheads, but like shitheads who kind of have a point. And by the end of the game, it's sort of not so clear what you're supposed to do. And yeah, really fascinating games. And I think they're both on sale. They're like fucking £3.80 or something each. And for the cost, in terms of money and time, I would say they are basically both essential.
Are they a sequel? Are they set in the same universe, or
very vaguely? Yeah, like they sort of. So in Subsurface Circular, the first one, the robots are referred to as techs, TEKS techs, and then like in Quarantine, there's like at some point someone said something, and I can't remember. Someone makes a comment like, "Oh, don't say that, like he's not a tech or something." So that's just sort of implies that yes, they are set in the same universe, but like beyond that, that's kind of it, which is fine. Like it's just a nice little nod if you played the first one, but it's not really essential.
I've heard nothing of these before. I'm gonna have a look.
I've heard nothing but good things, but I remember seeing I guess it must have been the first one, the first one is. Subsurface, isn't it?
Subsurface, yeah.
I remember when that came out, because that felt like a bit of a surprise release when that came out.
Yeah,
I was like,
same with the second one, because I think it was in was it in a Nintendo Direct or one of those indie showcases, and it was a like, oh, by the way, this is out now. again, yeah, like sort of like okay, it was featured on there, but it was like so little fanfare and that's so good. Just so pleased that I finally got around to checking them out. Cause,
are they quite short? What are they?
They are, yeah. I've played and finished both this week, so that should give you some idea. And the other thing with Quarantine as well, like it seems a lot more like there's a lot more branches you could follow if you really wanted to go back and make different decisions and stuff. Whereas like Subsurface Circular is like the interactions feel meaningful, and then the end it's like pretty much a binary choice. Whereas Quarantine is, I guess it does still come down to a binary choice, but how you arrive there is a lot more interesting and twisty, and there are a lot of different ways it can play out. There's developers' commentaries as well. Like I'm actually thinking of just going back through and listening to those because I'm, Mike Biffle's an interesting guy. So
going to be a trilogy or?
I've no idea.
Is there a plan for a third?
Like they appear to have hit on a very good formula of like what to do when they're between contracts or whatever. So, between games. So hopefully they're going to do more of these. Like, because I mean, it's a shame because like I say, I've sort of played and finished both of these in a week, and now I'm just like, fuck, like when's the next one? But it could be like years off. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's proper good. The only other thing I've played a bit of a game you may have heard of called Apex Legends.
I've heard it's going to be big.
Matt, you've put some time into this, haven't you?
I know one evening on this. I played a bit of former host David Turner. He's
R.I.P.
Yeah, he listened back to a few of the old episodes. You might remember who he is. But yeah, I played one evening with him. So that's like 2 hours. So barely scratched the surface. But what do you think, Sean?
It's interesting, right? Because it's probably the best battle royale game I have played, but as such, it's sort of confirmed to me that I think I just don't get along with battle royale that well. Like, it's like it does everything it could to get me into it, but I personally still just can't get past the idea of like starting a game, running around for 5 minutes, getting shot, and then just having to quit and start again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like as you get good, I'm sure that's less of a thing. But the amount,
even when you get good, that still happens. It doesn't matter how many hours of Fortnite or PUBG, like that sometimes just still happens. But
I think it's just when you just look at the results screen, and it's when you look at the results screen, it's just like time 12 minutes, kills 0, damage dealt 0, and just like, well, what was the point in that? But if you are into these sorts of games, it's clearly really good, and I say that it's from what I can see, it's got a lot of people into battle royale as well, like people who've previously turned their nose up at Fortnite or what have you. Like the amount of like really cool like quality of life things it does.
Oh yeah, it's a massive part of why this game is really impressive. In just the 2 hours I played, and I feel like I need like minimum of like 5 to 10 to really get the measure of this game. But yeah, quality of life is massive. There are so many helpful things about this game that other games just haven't done.
Yeah, just like the whole ping system, just like, really sort of context sensitive. Like you point at a thing, press a button, and it informs your team of what it is in a way that is really helpful. Like that, the way that's implemented is just perfect.
Yeah, because when I first heard about it, I thought, okay, it's a bit like spotting, whereby you see an enemy and you press the ping button, and it'll flash red. But so if you put your cursor over an enemy, it will be like a red cursor, and it'll say enemy over there, and everyone can see it. But if you see anything like something to pick up, like armor or helmet or backpack, you can ping them, and it'll say level 3 helmet or whatever it says, or it'll say like heavy rounds here. So that it's not like you saying who needs a backpack, who needs this. You can just ping everything you see.
And
people
then
know exactly
if someone pings an item and you pick it up, it's just like, if you want to just press your ping button to say thanks, go ahead. It's like,
yeah.
That's brilliant.
That's a really nice touch, that is.
And it's really helpful when playing with randoms as well. Like, just having that level of communication without having to actually talk to strangers, because who wants to do that?
Yeah, a lot of people commended him on that, and I think there was a quote or something from the studio saying that basically they had like a 2 weeks where they said, okay, we can't use voice comms, we need to try and use these, and that's basically how they tested the game and improved upon the ping system. It's just, you can basically fully communicate everything you need to do, whether it's where items are in the map or what you're collecting, what you need, what you can drop. You can basically do all of it via pinging, which is just hugely impressive.
Yeah. And like, just things like when you pick up weapon upgrades, it just puts them on the gun straight away. Like I haven't yet felt like I've actually needed to go into my inventory at any point. Because I always find that a bit of a sort of a flow breaking thing.
Yeah, in the matches I played, I sort of did just from force of habit from playing games like PUBG and Fortnite. Where I mean not Fortnite, but like PUBG and I guess Blackout. Where I'm changing things. But even this, it's really useful. If you go over like a scope or something, it will say you've already got this. Or or the thing you've got is actually a higher level than this, which again is like things that other games haven't felt they needed to do, or maybe they want to be a bit more, a bit less helpful. I'm not sure, but it just says in black and white, you already have this, or the thing you have is better than this. Yeah, and that's really useful.
Yeah, that stuff's all just really like instantly readable, isn't it? Like you don't have to know a lot about what's going on.
You don't have to know an icon or work out what it was actually telling you. It's just there in black and white. And also if you pick up like a new weapon, it will say here's the attachments you've got that already fit that weapon, which is also really useful because you're just like, okay, well this is a better gun. Maybe in other games you think, well this is a better gun, I'll take it. And you realise, hang on, I'm carrying loads of stuff that doesn't actually fit that gun, but it's really useful. It's like, well, if I get that, not only is it better, but 2 out of the 5 I've got fit it. And it's super, super useful. Even such things like when you go to pick your character in the initial sort of picker screen, you can like press like X to go from like here's the name of a special to actually it says here's what your special actually does. It doesn't just say, well, you've got this like I don't know, like a name for a special move. It doesn't just say you've got that and you have to work it out yourself or go on YouTube. It says, if you do this, if you press these 2 buttons, it will do this. Yeah, it's not rocket science, but it's really cool that it's in there and it makes it really useful.
Yeah, definitely. And like, the characters are all really interesting from what I've seen. I've only played as the robot lad with the zip lines because he's good fun. But yeah, just like seeing the things people are getting up to with all the different characters has been really interesting. They all seem like broadly likable as well. Like I don't know if a game like this needed like genuinely likable characters, but they're there and they've got funny quips and stuff, which again is that sort of Overwatch influence coming through, and I think that's a healthy thing to have here. I think it's a nice thing to include. The whole thing of like announcing when like the best team in the match gets taken out, and if you're still in the game at that point and suddenly you're like, fuck this, right, this is for the taking now, this is like, it might mean nothing. Like you might be so much worse than everyone else in the game, but just hearing that the top team is gone is suddenly like,
it's really cool. So,
this is
So when you start every match, it will say like, here's like the champion. So I mean, and I know people might listen to this start shouting at me, I'm getting it wrong, but is that basically the team that have got the most kills I think so,
yeah.
Over their lifetime? Yeah, but it's really cool saying here's the champion teams, and when you go around the map, there's this huge like banners which show that team. I believe that's the case, isn't it, Sean?
Yeah. When like, and it announces when they get taken out, and suddenly you feel like you're better at the game because, like, fuck, well, I outlasted them, so surely I must be brilliant.
Yeah, I like all like the announcements over like the arena. It feels almost like Hunger Games like. And that definitely gives it a different vibe. And obviously, like PUBG is very like simulation, and Blackout's very arcadey, and Fortnite is obviously a different beast entirely. But I thought there's a real sense of an event during these matches with all like the banners and like the
just sort of going like
voice over the arena and stuff.
Yeah, like Battle Royale as like a silly entertainment show makes perfect sense. Like, also, so like, saying me sulking about lack of free running and robots, like you only have to play this for 10 minutes to just be like, oh yeah, no, it wouldn't work. Of course they've taken those things out. Like the free running would be useless because most of the map, there's not buildings everywhere, so that would just be useless most of the time. And the robots would just be like such a huge advantage that it would just be really unbalanced and like So,
but it's got things like amazing slides where if you're running and then you're going down here, you can press a slide button, you can basically slide forever. which is really cool to do that. And,
Yeah. So yeah, like it's clearly great. Just as I say, like personally, I can't get over the hurdle of like just having games that just feel like a bit of a waste of time. But that's not this game's fault, and it's certainly quicker at getting you into like exciting situations than any other battle royale game I've played. So.
Yeah, it really. I mean, Sean, for you, I think it really is all about just like when you have your first experience of getting in that final circle or winning or getting close to winning. Like that's
true.
Like that. Like if you know I've played like tons of these other games, and if you just spend like games and games and games where you get rinsed straight away, it's like what is the point? But it's only when you really start to feel the sort of the tension, particularly in games like PUBG, of like getting into the final circle or just excitement of other things in Blackout. It's like, okay, that's why I'm doing this. That's why I want to find always great loot and spend like the first half of the game quite quiet, just making sure that what I've got in my arsenal, my armor stuff is as good as it can be, and finding out and trying to work out where that final circle is going to be. It's all worth it for the rush and like the excitement of that final circle.
Yeah, maybe I just need to have like a good game. And
yeah, I mean, I find when any of these games, I feel like I need like minimum like 5 hours to really understand what the game's about. I mean, when I play with Dave, I was asking tons of questions. He's obviously played well, much more than me when it's only my first evening. But I was like, okay, so what's this do? Like, why would I do this? And also, if it's a standard battle royale game, I'll be like, okay, well, I understand. I get my loot and then I go to the final circle. But with all like the various like characters and their abilities, I feel like there's much more to learn up front, and I want to learn it. But in a bit of a way, when I played Overwatch when that first came out, I was like, God, there's just so much to learn. I feel like I want to. Well, I've got to, and I do sort of want to dedicate some hours to playing this to really understand why I should use these certain characters and their moves. And having only played one night, I'm like nowhere near that. So right now, I can tell it's a good game, and I've really enjoyed what I've played. And the shooting feels fantastic, and all these quality of life changes, as we mentioned, are good. It runs at a really decent speed, or etc. etc. But I'm still a bit overwhelmed with like, all the various special moves and the characters. Hopefully I can put some more time into it in the next couple of weeks, and I'll get to understand the game a lot more. But yeah, even on that first night, I'm like, you can tell this is quality, but I think there's a much more to learn up front than say things like Blackout and PUBG.
Yeah. I mean, inevitably I'm going to play more of it because every fucker's playing it at the moment. So.
Yeah, and it's on every platform. Does this interest you at all?
And it's free.
James?
So yeah.
James, does this interest you at all?
I played one round of it and then was just like, see, like as you've been saying, it's like it clearly requires like a big time investment to like actually get into it and get like good at it and that kind of thing. And I just can't see myself doing that at the moment. And I haven't got like a group of people that I'm playing with at the moment anyway. Like because it's only like a three person like teams and everything. Yeah. It's unlikely that I'm going to get into this because I'm waiting for the Division is my next game like that. So yeah, it's what I played it is quality. It's clearly good. It's just that at the moment it's not for me.
Yeah, we're old men, James. That's the thing. We're not.
Yeah, there is that too.
It's too exciting. Can't handle it.
Yeah. I'm never going to be good at those games like these, like those ones like that. I just haven't got the.
But you played plenty of PUBG and stuff, haven't you? So you must have. Did you guys ever win?
Never won a game though.
Oh, okay.
Never. It's like we've been close like a couple of times, but mostly because we hid for like the most of the game and then got eliminated in the last like few minutes or whatever. But
there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I've won maybe one or two solos and I got one kill and it was the last kill of the game. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just, I mean, PUBG is a different beast. It's all about the tension and stuff. But
yeah.
Speaking of Division 2, is that it for you?
I was going to say, I've played a tiny bit of this, but I'm just going to hand over to you, I think, because I don't think I've got much to say.
No, I mean, I got to play this for one evening. I was going to play with James on Saturday, but I was just feeling under the weather then, so pulled out, unfortunately. But did you play any of this, James?
I didn't know, and I wanted to, but it didn't happen in the end because I started playing Red Dead.
So I played the Division 2 beta. Is that? I'm not sure what it's called.
Beta, right? Yeah.
It was just
a closed private beta.
So I played that last weekend or this weekend just gone, and It was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. So the first division I played probably only 10 or 15 hours. I played a bit, then maybe I came to that late, or actually it's probably so I played a bit, but loads of the guys who played with an Xbox, they played tons, and when it got to the point where I was willing to play again or ready to play again, they were high enough level for me, and the level scaling in the first division felt really, really crap to the point where even someone 2 levels above or below, it felt like it was a really bad experience for both of you. Whereas games like Destiny, they scale really well. It doesn't matter if you're really high or really low; it's still fun. It felt like when we tried to play Division 2 together, the first division together, with 2 or 3 or 4 levels different, it just didn't seem to work very well. So I jumped off that. Obviously, I'm well aware that over the year or two after that, people were saying how much it had changed, and they'd done big content drops, and it's a totally different game. I never really kept up with that. As much as I did enjoy the first 10 to 15 hours I played, I just didn't bother. But now Division 2's here, so I guess the major difference is that this is no longer set in snowy New York or Manhattan. Now it's in what I guess in the demo at least it was sunny Washington. You start off as your player, and in this first mission in the demo at least, you're in this what looks like a marshland with overgrown trees and grass everywhere, and there's a bit of an encampment near you. And this first mission is for you to make your way to the first settlement, which is the White House. I didn't play this on my big TV, unfortunately, but I played in 1440p, and it looks fantastic detail wise. It looks much more dense with detail. I mean, in terms of the posters on the floor and the detail of the cars and all the rubbish in the streets and the trees and stuff. I think it looks fantastic, and I haven't even played it in 4K, so I'm sure it looks even better.
I'd be intrigued. I'm definitely going to get shit from the listeners, but I ended up turning the HDR off because it seems fucked, in the same way that it was in Red Dead.
I mean, you wait now. Digital Foundry could say this is the best use of HDR ever.
I just so the opening mission. For me, it was at night, and I was just why is everything grey? It looks terrible. And then turn HDR off, and suddenly everything's much more vibrant and much higher contrast.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, so I didn't play it now. I just played it on the PC monitor upstairs, so I missed out. Oh, really? Okay.
Off.
Well,
yeah. But I don't know. Minor complaint, I guess. It's just strange that between that, Red Dead, I mean, Anthem didn't seem great with HDR, but then that didn't give you the option of turning it off. So who knows what was going on there.
I played HDR on Resident Evil 2 is weird, but again, I'm not playing on the TV downstairs. But
it's just such a shame because Destiny 2 looks fucking incredible with HDR on compared to with it off.
It really does.
And it just feels like every game I've played since it's been fucked.
Destiny 2 in the tower at night. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'll come on to the rest of the game in a minute, but one other graphical weirdness I had with this game, it was that textures took ages to load at various points. I'll be going through the town. And
is that because wasn't they having general problems with that because of the number, the server loads and all that kind of thing?
Well, they had this other issue. I can't remember what they called, but it had a name, and basically what they said was, we recommend you turn the game off every 2 to 3 hours. I mean, I only played for one evening, so maybe that was around the 2 to 3 hour mark, and I was in the middle of a mission with loads of randoms, and it had that, and it basically just crashed. But what was really impressive actually is that the game crashed, and I loaded back in, and all of us basically loaded back into the same mission. We just carried on as if we hadn't crashed at all. It's amazing because I would have expected to load back in. Now I'm back in the open area, but everyone just clearly loaded back into the same mission. I was really impressed with that. But no, texture wise, it just felt like they took ages to load in, especially when you're running around running around the city of it's Washington or whatever. It's just there's loads of bits where it's just grey, a bit more detail. Oh right, that's actually something else. I don't know if you experienced that at all, Sean.
I did.
I mean, obviously it's a beta, so
really noticeable with billboards and stuff. You'd be running past, and it's what is that? It's just a big blurb. Oh, there it is.
There we go. Yeah. But so the first mission, you go to the White House. There's a bit of a battle outside it. You get in there, and that's the first settlement, or I can't remember what they call it. what's the terminology?
Safe zone or something?
It's something like that. But yeah, so that's the White House, and after that, you're told that these areas, these settlements, whatever they're called, you can meet people, you can go out and do missions for these settlements, and that means you can improve like the sort of essentially that settlement. You get more people, you can recruit people, you get more missions, and so even that alone, it feels like there's tons of stuff you can do just around each of these. Base of operations, I think that's what they're called.
That sounds pretty similar to the first game.
Yeah. So
you
after
did
that first one with the White
camps.
House, I then went out into a town area, and that had like a really great feel too. So it does feel like sort of post-apocalyptic, and that this city is basically like gone to shit. And you're going from these to and from these safe zones, and as you're making your way through town, there are like bound. I think they call them hyenas. It's like this like military people, or the baddies basically. And there's a really, I can't really describe it, but it's just a really cool atmosphere as you were making your way to and from the various safe zones. There's a couple of points where I was like walking through, but I was being quite stealthy. I didn't want to just bowl down the middle of the street, and I saw like a gang of like these enemies, and I saw that they were actually like, I think I'd taken hostage these other innocent people, so I went in and I scoped the area. And this game does a really cool thing with cover, where you can run up to something, you can get cover as you would do normally, but if you hold down the cover button, you can basically see this other button where you can see other bits of other cover you can jump to, and it shows you like the sort of, there's this line, so you can see exactly where your character is going to go from the bit of cover you're in now to the new bit. And I thought that was really, really useful, rather than games in the past, I'm like, okay, I want to switch to that other bit of cover, and actually your character will run out in the middle of gunfire or something stupid. Is really, again, like another quality of life thing, a bit like Apex. It's just really cool saying, okay, well, if I hold that down, my character will go exactly over this car and behind that. But yeah, there's just like a really cool vibe as I was going through town. I saw these other people getting attacked, I shot them. And I mean, I played in that bit, it was actually in the daytime, but it's still... It felt like quite a hushed tone, but it just felt like a nice.
I know what you mean. It's quite sort of. It's weird because it's set like quite a while after the first game, isn't it? I think, and it's like basically everyone's sort of trying to rebuild now, and things are sort of improving. But yeah, it's still quite a somber mood because you're still just like traipsing through, like say, all these sort of like all these landscapes and bits of the city and stuff that have all just been abandoned and overrun with arseholes. So it is still kind of sad in a lot of ways, even though it's sort of weirdly beautiful in its own way as well. But yeah, it's a strange tone. I mean, obviously that'll go out the window when you play with mates and you're just running around telling shit jokes and laughing and screaming over it. But I did instantly love that, and it's just such a contrast to like the snowy conditions in New York from the first one. I really like that. And then I made my way to the second safe area, and did a few missions there, and I got my first abilities. I chose like the drone and this other like turret which I can put down, which was really useful. Each of those, I think there's like 8 to 12 abilities and sort of special items you can pick up, and each of them you can upgrade as well, which is really good. And I used a couple of them in a mission. I did a couple of missions with random people, and that all works really, really well. I mean, it's weird because I haven't played it over the last like year and a half or whatever since it in inverted commas got really, really good and stuff. I feel like right now, I can't see a massive difference between the first one and the second one. I enjoyed the first one, didn't play enough. Second one seems like more the same. I'm sure if you're massively into Division, you're about to say, oh no, but this is different, or this has been improved. I can't really see that. And again, I think, a bit like Apex, I need to play way more to really see that.
Matt, did it feel significantly different to what we played when we were at Eurogamer?
It felt a bit tighter. I mean, like it just felt a bit more optimized. I'm not sure, but I'm sure we'll probably find out it's actually the same build. It's different. Obviously, that was us all playing together, and this was just me mostly playing on my own. So it had a bit of a different vibe anyway, and it had like their texture stuff. It felt good. I mean, it felt like more the same in many ways, but it did feel better. But it's really hard to say, in all honesty.
I was watching a video that was explaining apparently there is less of an emphasis on like random loot, and it's more just like doing missions and stuff gets you materials, and it's all about crafting your own shit, which
okay
sounds fine. I don't know how that will sit with like long-term players, because like Destiny 2 sort of had this, when it first came out, it was this like, oh, people were really annoyed about getting shit random loot all the time. Let's make it much less random and much more dependable. And everyone just played the shit out of it in 2 weeks and got everything they wanted, and that was that. It was, and they ended up putting like quite heavily randomized loot back in. So it'd be interesting to see how this shakes out. If that, if this is how Division 2 works, where it's, like I say, there's not this emphasis on just like getting random drops that are really good. It's just about earning materials and building stuff. Like, to me, and the amount that I will play the game, that sounds quite appealing. But it'd be interesting to see how that like pans out long term. I guess.
But then like the idea of getting like a sweet random loot drop that's what excites me. Rather than just being, well, you get this, you collect this, and you do this. I think that robs it of some of the excitement.
Yeah.
I think that's maybe one of the reasons why I never really get into these in a big way, because I never care about that, like the loot. I just don't care about loot, and that's the problem. I think that I have with this. Yeah, I'm just not bothered. It's fine. As long as my gun works and it's fine, I'm not really bothered about.
But then it's more like if you're really massively into it and you understand and you get the meta, and everyone's like, well, this is the gun that everyone's using and it's the best one, or really great shield or whatever it is. Like that's when the loot becomes exciting, because you want to be part of that and want to use the gear that everyone else is using, particularly in games that have like PvP. So that was exciting. I mean, like, and when you're trying to get a gun which is either hard to get or is random, I got that thing. Like that was always one of the best bits of Destiny. But I know when there's a big emphasis in these safe zones or base of operations where you upgrade them, do missions, you get more materials, you recruit people. So it'd be interesting to see what that's like. But no, I really enjoyed what I played. Cool. I can't say right now if it's a guarantee like day one. But so who knows? But I really enjoyed what I played. I think it looked good. It was fun, and I just played at random. So I think with your mates, it'd be brilliant.
I never made use of it, but I enjoyed the fact that it seems that you get like notifications when people are nearby, like other players who are nearby you could do with a hand, which I think will be a massive help to those playing solo. That's
sort of annoying, because it kept saying like, we need backup, and that happened a lot. I was like, okay. I mean, I get that, but I mean, I didn't actually go to help anyone. And maybe it is cool if you just want to play that game that way, but it was sort of annoying a bit as I was trying to do the missions, and I just heard, I need backup. It was cool finding those little like walkie-talkies around the place, though, for like the little side missions. I thought that was a cool little touch, because I was like, is this like it says like a collectible or something hidden? But you hear this like radio chatter at various places, and you have to find this walkie-talkie, and that takes you to like little side missions, I think. But no, I'd be interested to see what other people think of it, and I can't say if it's a day one, but I really, really enjoyed actually what I played.
Yeah, like it's not mind-blowing in any way, but I can see how, I always talk about how like Destiny 2 is great for me because it's what I put on when I don't really know what to play, and it's just like this sort of easy sort of familiarity. I can see people developing that with this. Like it already feels like it's benefiting from, the changes that were made with the first game and stuff, and so I can see this being like a sort of, not necessarily a game people obsess over, but just one that's good to have like on,
that's how we played the original Division. We just played it like once a week, basically. But it was always fun to go back to. For like
and like it's quite exciting in a way, because Massive Entertainment must have obviously learned so much from the first one.
Yeah.
And whereas if you have like the Destiny comparison, Destiny 1 had its issues, and then Destiny 2 came out, it had an amazing campaign, but arguably a lot of the things that maybe they thought it needed to be didn't really work that well with the community. And actually, I mean, just from an outsider looking in, it feels like what they've done now is largely taken a lot of the systems back to how they were in the first Division, in the first Destiny.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to know if Massive will go a similar route with this and actually make big, bold changes, but actually the core fan base don't want that. I don't know, but it's always exciting to see, okay, first one did well, and it's exciting to see if and how the team has learned and how that's going to impact this one.
And I don't envy them, because that whole, designing that sort of arc to like, be like, right, so what happens when people play this for 500 hours? It's impossible to test for or to design properly, because you just don't know until the game's out and everyone's screaming at you on the forums. So I get it. It's not easy, but yeah. I'm confident that I will, like I say, not day one, but I will pick this up at some point and probably have a very good time with my mates.
Yeah, I reckon if and also it's our squads of 4. But yeah, if you and 3 mates get it, I reckon it'll be. I reckon you have plenty of good time. But I'll be interested to see what the reviews say. Really. Apart from that, I played Apex, as we mentioned. Played Bloodborne on Sundays at 9 on Twitch. I'm still loving that game. I defeated Father Gascoigne last one. This one, I was walking around Cathedral Ward, and it was. I think I was making good progress. I only died like 6 times in the stream, and I was like, getting through it. And then I got to that bit where there's that guy with like what looks like a minigun, on this tower. And I was like, it was getting late, and I was already feeling ill at that point. So I was like, okay, I'm going to stop at like 10:30. I'm not going to do too long. And I was like, going through that level, and I was really enjoying it, really enjoying the landscape. And then I got up went up the ladder. And I was like, well, I guess this is where it's going to be. I thought it was going to be a proper boss. Obviously, when I got to the top, there wasn't a proper boss. There was no like fog gate or anything. And I thought, well, it's 10:30. I'll have this one go, then I'll turn it off and then retry again. I got up there. He shot me a couple of times. I healed. I did some rolls, and then he walked backwards off the tower. he just stepped off the tower.
Amazing.
And killed himself. And I was like, okay, well, brilliant. I know that guy wasn't a boss, but it was pretty satisfying just watching him step off, and then everyone's like, just turn. Everyone's like,
I mean, he's not a boss,
but the game and restart, and you get all the stuff. I'm like, no, okay, I'll believe you.
He's not a boss, but he is tough. Like, he's not easy to defeat.
I mean, like, in that like 15 or 20 seconds that I was actually on the roof with him, the 2 shots I did absolutely nothing. But luckily he ended it for me. So I quit the game, restarted. I got the stuff. I got the blood vials, whatever, and I'll carry on. But I'm still loving Bloodborne. And I'm enjoying my Sunday night streams massively. Other than that, I played Resident Evil 2 on Wednesday.
Yes, you did.
And I mean, I'm sure many of you will listen to this. Maybe you haven't, but there is a YouTube clip that Dave's edited the some of the choice moments from last Wednesday's stream. It's on our YouTube channel. Please go and watch it.
It's excellent.
I mean, it's really
good. It's also like slightly concerning. Like, as a friend, it's a bit like, are you all right, Matt? Like, it's the change in colour of your cheeks that got me. Like, I think everyone
commented on the red cheeks.
I was just like watching. I was like, he's not okay. He's having a really shit time.
I was really, really not okay. It was. I mean, it's no word of a lie. I was very close to a breakdown. I mean, I've said before, I don't do well with horror and jump scares and being chased. And in this, and in last week's in Wednesday's stream, I met Mr. X. And it was horrendous. I mean, I was on edge before that, in all honesty, because I knew it was really close. And I mean, normally before stream, I'm like a little bit nervous. I'm most excited because I do love streaming, but I'm a little bit nervous. Technically, I hope it works and stuff. But but Bloodborne, I'm like, well, I know it's going to work, and I'm excited. I can't wait to play the game. There's Resident Evil. Like, for hours before, I was like, my stomach's going mad. I was like, I'm sort of dreading it. And even though I know it's an excellent game. But yeah, I played the game and met Mr. X, and it was basically like 2 and a bit hours of me having a meltdown. I started the stream, all smiles, wearing like a t-shirt, shirt and jumper, like, let's play some Resident Evil 2. By the end, I was just wearing my white t-shirt. I had also gone the same colour in my face, apart from my cheeks, which are really red. I had lots of jump scares. My wife Jill came in to make me jump as well during the stream, which wasn't great. She came into the chat because she had heard me yelp so many times. There were some amazing moments, like when Mr. X has already been chasing me at that point, and I said, if he's coming through this door, and I'll just stop talking, but I was like, if he comes through this door, and I was basically going to say, I'm going to turn it off. I went through the door, he wasn't there, went on the corner, it was just there. It was just, that was almost like, it was almost perfectly scripted, that moment. And I mean, I screamed, paused the game. I was on pause for most of the last 40 minutes of that stream. I showed bits to Jill. I think I showed Jill the edit David done. She's like, "Why are you pausing so much?" I was like, "No." She said, "Why are you looking at the map so much?" I was like, "Because I'm pausing it because I'm trying to work out what I'm doing next in the game." Yeah, there's a lot of procrastinating. I was just stopped. Yeah, okay, well, what can I do here? And really, I was just freaking out.
I mean, are you enjoying it on any level, or is...
No, Jill said that. It's like, are you putting it on? I was like, I wish I wasn't. It would be brilliant if I could just play this game and then get on with my life, but it's like it feels like trauma, right?
You could always not play it and get on with
I know
your
that,
life.
but I've started now, and I don't like quitting. I mean, I was very, very close.
You don't like quitting. You always quit games.
I don't always quit things. I mean, there's a couple of things, sure, but I'm not going to quit this.
How's Monster Hunter going?
Well, I sold that, but I don't think you can play games and stop. It doesn't mean I finish every game. Anyway, regardless, yeah, this got too much for me in many points. And Jill was like, "Are you putting it on?" I was like, "No." Like, so that was Wednesday night. I was, a wreck. My nerves were all over the place, of course, and it took me like an hour and a half to get to bed because I was just like so amped up. Even the next day, my nerves were still shredded. I still felt a bit like a mess. Obviously, I wasn't like scared because I was just going to work and it was the daytime, but I still felt like it was almost like a hangover, like my nerves, like from the trauma, and it just felt like trauma from the night before. All the emotions and like the fear. Oh, just. So by Friday, I was fine.
I find this so hard to relate to. I don't understand it.
James, you just don't feel fear. That's something wrong with you in the other direction. That's
probably true.
I mean, the video is very funny, but do take care of yourself, Matt. I am genuinely concerned.
Yeah, I mean, it was horrendous. But I mean, after I finished, and I went to bed and was like, "You watched a bit?" And Jill was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Well, I think that was entertaining to watch, even though I was basically in bits." I mean, Wednesday, I'm dreading. I just sort of hoped, and part of me still hopes that this game will maybe get me over this stuff, but actually might make it worse. I don't know. People suggesting you should play like Resi 7 or Alien Isolation next. That's not going to happen.
I'm going to say Resi 7 seems even worse.
Yeah.
So
this is still an excellent game, but it's not as enjoyable anymore. But if you're listening to this,
Matt, you're not.
Go on.
You're not like sitting at your desk at work and like having flashbacks and stuff.
No, and I was a bit worried about that actually, but actually no. Like when I was like lying in bed in the dark afterwards, I wasn't like, oh no, Mr. X might be here. No, thankfully that isn't translating into real life. It's just I was getting myself worked up before, and yeah, I don't know what I need to calm down basically. But I'm not putting it on. I wish I was, because then I could just turn it off and just play the game and enjoy it, and not have this like fucking emotional trauma every Wednesday night. But sadly, that's where I am. Hopefully, I'll calm down. But if you're listening to this podcast on the day it comes out, I'm streaming tonight, 9 o'clock. Go to twitch.tv/computergameshow and watch a man have a breakdown. Also, like,
cool.
Someone said, I said like on my Bloodborne stream, hey, so how far am I into this game? And they're like, about 25%. I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, 25% is nothing. That's a lot. I was sort of hoping I was like halfway through so I could just, try and get this done. But anyway. It's an excellent game, but I'm not built for horror, but I'm going to push through because it's entertaining.
Do you know, I'd love you to play like Resident Evil 7 in VR.
No, but there'd be no point.
I was scared by that.
You'll actually die.
Well, no, James, I said when I played that, the 1 hour demo, whatever it's called, it took me 5 nights and I kept taking a headset off, so no chance.
But that was nothing as well. The actual game is horrendous. I mean, it's the one game that has really messed me up when I was playing it. It really upset me. But I don't know. I think I'd love to see that. Maybe next time we're up or see you or something.
I'm
trying to look after Matt here, and James is just like, yeah, God, do something worse. Go on, fuck it, it'd be funny.
No,
it's all for the clicks, Sean. It's
no. I mean, it's funny, and I'm glad people are enjoying it. Even if I mean, you can literally physically see me change over the course of the stream. I look like a right mess. I felt just absolutely fucked after that. Anyway, it's only a game. That's what I should keep telling myself and just calm down. So maybe it'll be a new confident Matt on Wednesday night at 9. Who knows? That's all I've been playing.
Cool.
Thankfully.
Right, emails then.
Yeah, emails.
Yeah, emails.
We've only got one.
Oh, brilliant.
It's from James Unwin.
Okay.
He says, with all the hype surrounding Apex Legends, which I'm sure you've gone into some depth with, I was wondering something. With Battle Royale games coming up, games up and coming and current, do you have to get into these games early to appreciate them? By that, I mean, do you have to start playing them a couple of weeks before the 12-year-old kids are up until 5 a.m. every night and getting kill streaks of 57 plus to get your fix? By that time, in my opinion, it doesn't become enjoyable anymore, and the game has evolved to be played by the elite, if you will. What do you guys think? Will Battle Royale games always be a fad early on when the games have been released? Is there anything companies do to combat this? Sorry, lads, a couple of questions that I suppose be interesting to hear what you think. Fantastic pod, as always. Cheers, Jim.
Cheers, Jim. I know what he means. It's definitely a thing, isn't it? Like if you're late to a game and everyone else has been playing it for months and they have had loads of practice, of course it's not entirely enjoyable. My experience of going back to Titanfall 2, which I was okay at and I'm still okay at, that's not been too bad, because as I say, if you're having a shit match, you just focus on the AI controlled enemies, and that just keeps you in the game, and doesn't just feel like you're getting slaughtered all the time and not really helping. So that goes a long way towards alleviating it, I think. But it's definitely something I've felt in other games, yeah. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I mean, in the Call of Duty games, that was most noticeable. Even when I was massively into Modern Warfare 2, and I was at the point like bringing sick into work to play it and booking holidays to play it, I was like super heavily addicted to that. I went away, I remember, that year for Christmas for 2 weeks, and I came back home and I was like, nope, done, can't play it anymore. And so, but I don't know, I think with the Battle Royale games, that feels like it's less of a thing because it's very much about the loot. And
and I think because they're so random, big.
But obviously these people still know the maps and they know the choke points and they know where to and where not to go. But I feel like it feels slightly less of a deal on these Battle Royale games. But with something like Apex Legends, there's so many characters and skills, and the skills and abilities of those characters, I feel like if you properly main a character, you know exactly how to implement that character's skills and abilities. Yeah, you'd be pretty lethal at that game.
Yeah, and I think there's an argument that something like Fortnite is so massive that actually new people are getting into it all the time.
Yeah.
Like, that's just the sheer fucking size of it. So I don't think you'll ever be totally alone as a new player in some of these games because they're just that big.
Surely also they have like matchmaking and stuff anyway, don't they?
I don't know. Do they?
I think they do, but I saw like Athena Allen tweet saying like she played like 3 or 4 hours and suddenly she was against people who played like 500. They've had like 500 kills or something. So I don't know what the matchmaking is like in this particular game.
Yeah.
No, it all seems a bit more random in Battle Royale, but for other games, you know, the Call of Duties and stuff. Yeah, I absolutely know what you mean.
Yeah, definitely.
But it is always really exciting. In like the first week of any of these games, in the first week or two, it's always really exciting because you know everyone's working out by themselves or for themselves, and that's why it's always fun to jump on these games week one.
Yeah, and with Apex, it's free, so have a go.
Exactly. Yeah.
I definitely understand like most games, if you don't want to shell out 50, 60 quid, then you could be tempted to wait, and then you have this compensating thing of like, but is the multiplayer going to be shit now? But Apex is free, innit? Have a go.
Absolutely. Yeah. On to tweets. It's at Computer Game Pod if you want to tweet us some questions. Sean S. Thomas, does anyone ever take advantage of backwards compatibility very much? I feel like every time there's a new console, it's always a huge talking point, but I know very few people who actually use it. How often do you actually replay last-gen games?
Every Friday. Deadly Premonition.
9 p.m.
And then before that, me and you were streaming Portal, which was also backwards compatibility. But
I use it quite a lot.
But apart from that, I haven't done many, in all honesty.
I mean, I haven't made use of it, but then I don't own anything that does backwards compatibility, so that'd be why. If my Switch could somehow play my Wii U library, I'd be absolutely made up, because for whatever reason, there are a few Wii U games that I can't let go of, and that's why I've still got the console in a box somewhere. That would be awesome. I really wish Nintendo would sort out fucking Virtual Console, but
yeah, absolutely. I had so many games on there, Sean, and I'm kind of gutted that I couldn't bring them over. Yeah. Also, I mean, I had like Mother and all that kind of stuff that I wanted to play but never got around to, and then now it's in a box, like you said, and that's frustrating.
Well, so you still can play it.
Well, yeah, if I get it all out, it's
just logistical faff, isn't it? So yeah, that is something I would make use of. Would I play many PS3 games if the PS4 had the option? Maybe not. Off the top of my head, I can't think of anything I'd really want to go back and play.
See, I would, because there's a bunch of stuff, because I never had one, so there's quite a few. I mean, I want to play Metal Gear Solid 4, for example. Yeah. Never played that game.
That's on PS Plus this month, isn't it? So
yeah, it is. Yeah,
yeah, but can't play it. It's
only PS3. You can have mine if you want. It's sat under a sofa somewhere, I think. I mean, I'd be more interested in like PS2 backwards compatibility. I think just because there's so many like weird hidden gems in the PS2 era. But I don't know.
This is why I'm really hoping that rumor about the PS5 is going to be true. Like if that plays all the previous stuff, I'll be really happy with that because there's a lot of stuff I wouldn't mind either playing again or stuff that I missed, the first time around.
Yeah. I guess for me, I don't really have any physical games left at all, really. So if I had a massive library of that, I'd be like, oh yeah, I love to play some backwards compatibility stuff because I could look at my library and collection of games and pick one off the shelf and put it in the machine. But because I don't have that, I don't have a huge interest. I mean, I guess what Xbox is doing is that when they're adding things for backwards compatibility, they're also available to buy digitally. So it's not like, well, just because it's not a disc, it's impossible to get hold of. But yeah, the idea of PS5 potentially playing all like PS1 to 5 games on one machine is cool. I don't know if I'll ever really take advantage of it unless someone's like, well, you should stream that PS2 game. Apart from that, I don't think there's any chance of me ever really going back, unfortunately.
You love new stuff though, Matt. That is
I do love the new. Sold anything old. It's a cool feature, and when they say this is now back, Xbox obviously do it, monthly or whatever, but it is always, it feels like a bit more of a big deal. Like, oh wow, this is now backwards compatibility, and I guess with Xbox they've also made some of those games 4K, which is also another added benefit. But I don't know. I mean, it's cool, but for me, it doesn't really bother me so much. I guess, for PS5, they said if they said it didn't play physical PS4 games, I wouldn't be bothered because I don't have any. But but it's the issue of it doesn't play your digital games, and obviously that's certainly an issue. But
yeah.
That would wind me up if they did that.
There's no chance that happened now. That'd be such a massive risk for them. That'd be ridiculous.
Well, that's what Xbox did, didn't they, with the last generation?
I guess but hopefully there's been a lot of learnings over the last gen. Not for that not to happen.
Yeah.
SMW tweets in, still plan to do a Life is Strange spoiler cast for episode 2. Just finished it tonight and eager to see what you thought or did. We are definitely planning on it.
Yeah, totally. I'm going to try and do it this week. James, are you going to try and do the same, or is it going to be a while for you yet?
Yeah, I could do it because I could have a gap between. I could stop playing Red Dead for a bit and then do that and then go back to it. But yeah,
you should do, because even though I overall wasn't blown away by it, there's going to be some real conversation moments in that spoiler cast, given what happens.
So I'm a bit worried because I've not read any spoilers or anything, but I've just heard mostly negative things about it.
I've heard a lot of people saying it's just not as good as the first episode. Yeah.
But I've spoken to other people and actually everyone's enjoyed it. Like Dave said it's really good, and Joe from work I talked to says that he really enjoyed it. I don't know. I was a bit negative about it, but there's still plenty to discuss for sure. So we'll definitely do a spoiler cast because the first one I thought was really good. Yeah. If you listened to this and you played the first episode of Life is Strange 2, we've done a spoiler cast months ago. You should go back and listen to it. It's shit happens basically.
Yep.
Okay, this one, Future Exercise. After a month of pods now, how do you think it's going about David Turner's? Do you think you need a fourth man, or are you happy with the current slapdash arrangement? Keep it slick as always.
Slapdash?
I mean, it's hardly slapdash. If anything, it's not slapdash. It's just what's left.
Yeah,
you should see,
what remains.
It's certainly not slapdash. You see all the emails we get during the week and all the stuff from that. It's definitely not slapdash.
It's a well-oiled machine. Slapdash should be quickly bringing in a fourth person with no real thought. That would be slapdash.
I'm really pleased with how it's going. I'm really enjoying it. People have been really supportive. We've only had a couple of weird, snarky messages about Dave not being around anymore. I thought there'd be quite a lot of that. It's been good. Obviously we miss him, but I'm pretty happy, to be honest. I've not felt like fuck, we need to get a guest this week or it's going to be shit. I'm really not too worried, to be honest.
No, I haven't felt that. I sort of feel like I've really been enjoying just learning how we're going to function as a free piece. We will have guests, of course. We'll in the next few weeks and months, I'm sure we will. But right now we're still trying to we're only 4 episodes into this new. It's this new world without Dave hosting, so it's always going to be weird, and we're gonna we're still like finding our feet, as it were. So yeah, I don't know what I really expected. I was obviously worried because Dave's like a massive part, of why we are where we are.
Yeah, and it's always weird. Like with the best will in the world, it is always weird when hosts change around or people leave or new people join. Like because people are so used to like the setup and everything. But as we've said, I think it helps that like there's been a couple of like changes, like with me going off, John coming in, John going, and then me coming back, and so I think like people are aware that this is a potentially changeable thing. It's not like we've been the same for like 5 years or whatever.
No.
But no, I think it's been fine.
Yeah, I mean, I've really enjoyed the stuff we put out this year. It's obviously different, and we're still sort of finding our feet. But and we will get guests on, but. It's always going to be different, and I've been really impressed. I'm not sure what I was really expecting or worried or thinking what might happen, but I've been impressed with what we put out. Given that we've lost a host who's been Dave's been hosting for like last 3 years, it's like a massive change. It's how about you, James?
It's been fine.
I knew you'd say that. Tell us what you really think, James. Come on.
It's been alright.
What you really think?
It's been fine. It's been fine.
It's been really fine, says James Farley.
Really, totally fine.
It's been so fine.
It's more fine when we finish before 10:30.
It's 23 minutes past, James. Are you telling us we've got 7 minutes left?
Yes, basically, yeah. I mean, I have to admit that has been one of the big perks of this, actually, has been finishing earlier. I know I've said it many times, but it's absolutely true. Yeah, that's been nice. Yeah.
It has been wonderful to start at 8 o'clock. I mean, it means I can get an edit after this. You guys can, do what you want. It's brilliant. Yeah. That's obviously going to change when Dave comes back. Anyway, regardless, we'll keep on going. Well, I thought I'd better mention streaming for House and Hunt's benefit. Oodles O'Dim on Twitter. Feedback, great bunch of streams from everyone last week. Wanted to know, are you guys still in the honeymoon period with streaming? And is this going to die out fast? Or do you have plans in the near future with streaming? I mean, I'm loving it, of course, and even on nights when I'm not streaming, I'm like, now what do I do in my life? But what do you guys think?
I'm sorry, go on, Sean.
Sorry, I coughed over that. What'd you say?
I'm very happy with it so far. I mean, I'm playing a game which has got issues, but it's still enjoyable to play. And I do enjoy doing it. Actually, it's fun to chat with the same people and all that kind of thing. It's been it's
I
good.
saw you slagging me off on your stream though, James. You're basically like, why does Matt get to play Resident Evil and I get to play this?
It's true. Yeah, why did you get Resident Evil
didn't you?
and I got this? No, I didn't suggest it. It was bought for me by my wife.
So what? It was but
you always get the good games. You got like Dark Souls, you got Bloodborne you're playing through now, you got Resident Evil. I've had the David Cage trilogy.
Again, that was your choice.
Now Deadly Premonition.
It's all your choice, James. Choose a better game.
Yeah. It wasn't my choice. I mean, the David Cage stuff was not entirely my choice. It was
it's fair.
Well, I think it started with your choice, and then you felt like you had to finish the trilogy. But just choose a better game next time.
Trilogy. I mean, I feel like I'm the luckiest out of all of us because I get to play whatever I want every week within certain arbitrary constraints that are probably just going to get looser each week. But yeah, I'm properly enjoying it. As you say, it's just nice like hanging out with people and stuff. It's good. Enjoying it.
Yeah, it is always amazing seeing like the regulars come back, and it's just I on nights I'm not doing it, I really miss it, and I love it when we do it. So. For people who think I'm maybe sick of hearing about it, I'm sorry, but just get used to it. That's just what we're doing as well.
Yeah, I mean, from a financial standpoint, it's more justifiable than doing the podcast. So.
Yes. So this is going to be cut down. This will be once a fortnight now, unfortunately, because Monday is new streaming that, baby. People are asking me to stream Resident Evil 7. That's not happening.
No.
Actually, Jordan Blythe. So, Matt, since you're totally loving Resi 2, I was wondering when you're going to play Resi 7 Biohazard. Seems like a no-brainer, really. Boost your Twitch subscription count instantly. No. That's a no.
I think if you were going to do it, Matt, though, you'd have to do it in VR, because that would just be
I'm not going to do it, and I'm like, I'm not going to do it, but actually I'm going to do it. I'm not going to do that one. There's no point. Honestly, I would be constantly taking a headset off, and it'll take an hour to get to like the first. It'd be ridiculous. let me try and get through Resi 2 first and see where I am, but it's not
Yeah,
gonna
see
happen.
if it does actually like embolden you if you manage to finish it, and then go from there.
You know, because how good would it be? Like, after all these years, I'm like, I can't stand horror films, can't stand horror games. How amazing would it be if it suddenly, it did embolden me, and I'm like, oh, actually, now I've got like a whole new, like, you know, art form. Now I can enjoy horror stuff. That'd be brilliant, because I feel like I'm missing out. But I don't think that, given what I've played of Resi 2 so far, and what people have seen of how I handle Resi 2, I don't think that's going to happen. I'll just put it out there. One other question here. Todd McKeon. I once regaled Sean with the story of how I met Ephraim Menuk. And he was a total wanker. Have any of you met your heroes, gaming or otherwise, and how did it go? Who is Ephraim Menuk?
Ephraim Menuk. He's like the sort of front man, I guess, from Godspeed You Black Emperor and A Silver Mount Zion. And yeah, it did not surprise me to learn that he's a wanker, because he does sort of come across as one. Although reading that, when I first read that tweet, I was like, I once regaled Sean with the story of how I met Ephraim Menuk, and he was a total wanker. I was like, oh God, what did I say? I don't. I thought he meant me. But then I remembered. Right. Yeah. What heroes have we met, gaming or otherwise?
I saw Adrian Chiles the other day.
Yeah.
But that wasn't. I mean, he's not a hero, obviously. No, not particularly. But yeah, he was in the library where I work, and I was just like, oh, what are you doing here? But I didn't say that. Obviously, but in my head, I was thinking that.
So what are you doing?
But it turns out he was interviewing someone. Yeah.
Oh, nice. I didn't meet him, but I know, like, on the old Joypod, I guess it was Play Radio days maybe, when you had John Davidson on, and I rang up and like bumbled for a question, because I was like, oh, it's John Davidson from 1UP. It was a massive.
Yeah, I did the same thing with Garnet Lee.
Yeah. It's just like massive how you got those people on there who are like, you know, the crown of the 1UP era. So that happened. I don't know who else I've really met. Like, and
I'm trying to think.
Probably the
closest I've got is I read Digitizer a lot when I was growing up, and it was quite a formative thing just because of the weird fucking sense of humour in it. And then years later, was hanging around on the Mr. Biffo forum, and then there was like they started doing meetups and stuff. So I met him, and that was fine. And then it was like the forum all went to shit and ended up getting deleted. It's all a bit weird. But yeah, like, then I saw him a few years ago. He did a talk at Play Expo, and so I had a quick chat with him then. But beyond that, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know if you guys get this, but like, I don't really have like heroes as a grown adult.
No, neither do I. I have none. It's one of those things that like I find difficult to understand at this stage. Like, I don't really have anybody.
Maybe I'm just really lucky, but I just feel like I have peers who I really respect and whose work I really enjoy. I don't know. I don't like place myself beneath people like that anymore. I don't think.
You have anyone you look up to in like gaming or otherwise? You're like, they're.
I have people whose stuff I really like, but not like. I don't know, not like, I don't know what I'd say if I ever met them. I don't know.
Yeah, there's definitely people like, stuff that I like they do and all that kind of thing. But I don't feel, I don't know, I don't feel like in a hero sort of situation.
Yeah, like although we're not massive, like I am proud of the stuff we do too. Like it's not, I don't know.
Am I your hero, Sean?
Yes.
James is all our heroes.
We're all heroes.
I met Gabe Newell when it was. This is one of my when I was dressed up in a suit as like a 16-year-old with Matt Morley, and they were demoing Half-Life on Dreamcast actually, and I offered him a Polo Mint.
Nice. Did he accept?
He did. Nice. He wasn't my hero, but it was like, oh, Gabe Newell, and that was pretty exciting at the time. I can't remember any other stories, but I'm sure if I did, I'll just like mumble my way for a question and embarrass myself. Last question here. Oodles O'Dim again. Question: if you could be a producer, writer, director, etc., or a role for a game, which studio would you like to work for? Here's some examples. Sean, designer for Drinkbox, nice and indie.
Nice.
Matt, community engagement manager for Epic. Farley, HR manager at Quantic Dreams. Now, my suggestion is actually Farley, community management at Quantic Dreams.
Yeah.
Or Quantic Dream. Because I'd love to see the sort of stuff that James would have to produce to sell Quantic Dream games.
No, I think we should make Farley head writer at Quantic Dream. I think we should.
Oh my god, we need someone sent us that TED talk that
Oh shit.
We need to watch that.
Yeah, I've not watched that.
Was it David Cage?
It was David Cage talking about how to write good stories.
We need to like watch that and do like a TCGS Talks Over thing, because I reckon that'd be great.
That would be very funny. But no, I think Farley's put his money where his mouth is. I think he needs to write a Quantic Dream game and show David Cage how it's fucking done.
James, do you think you could write a better game than David Cage?
I wouldn't like to say I can, because I'm not a writer in the sense of like I'm not a narrative writer like of fiction. So, but I still think I probably could. To be honest,
James, your left bollock could write a better story than David Cage.
Yeah, you're right.
Hey,
actually,
Sean,
yeah.
there's quite an emotional story.
I don't know what I was thinking
in the most recent one.
What else? I don't know. What would if I could be a producer, director, writer, etc. role?
See,
for
me,
studio?
because I move over to the next thing so quickly, I'll be on a lot of jobs. Like, yeah, community manager for Epic. No, for PUBG. No, for Apex. No, for Barlet. For fuck's sake.
See, the problem with this question is like, obviously, I want to. Like, I'm thinking like, oh yeah, what would I love to work on? But inevitably, whatever I end up working on, I'm spoiling it for myself. Like, oh yeah, I'd love to work on like, I don't know, Dragon's Dogma 2. I'd get Capcom to make Dragon's Dogma 2. But then I would know what happens in Dragon's Dogma 2. It wouldn't be a surprise to me. I wouldn't get to just play Dragon's Dogma 2 as a game that just arrives in my life.
You wouldn't get to play it, but you'd have like the enjoyment of like creating something that people love and, you know,
I guess
creating art that people appreciate.
I'd rather just be a consumer of Dragon's Dogma 2. Do you know what I mean? Like, it'd have to be, I don't know, something I'm not that arsed about. Get me, I tell you what, I'll go and work for EA and I'll write the next FIFA The Journey episode.
We need to play the previous one, Sean. How could you possibly?
I could just write that anyway, to be honest.
Actually, it would be great
to know where they're coming from.
I think I'd write a really good football story.
He knows nothing about football to write a football story. Is it?
Exactly.
What's that band like? Is it the Shags and like the stories that they've never heard music or some rubbish? Sounds horrible, actually. Yeah, you should do that. You should definitely do that. You should do it anyway and just put that on Twitter. So here's the story for the next journey.
Although it would just be that. Who was it who did that football game that he knew nothing about football? Was it Behold the Kick Man or something?
It's all really like, oh, the kick boot. Actually, that stuff really fucked me off. Actually, is it okay? I think is it Dan Hatt?
Oh yeah, as in Ben there and Dan that. Yeah, Dan. I forget his full name. But yeah.
Like at first, it's like he created this football game for someone. I think he doesn't like football. He doesn't know about it, and it's like. Yeah. And it looked the demo looked really cool. It's loads of like you charge up with shots, and it actually looked really nice. But then most is like, oh, you did the kick boot of the in. It's just all be like, oh, snarky football.
You see, like I
sort of done my nut in actually.
I don't do football, but at the end of the day, that sort of sense of humour. It's like, look, we've got that Adam and Joe song. It's about 25 years old now. That's all we need.
But it's still brilliant.
It is. But like that was the first and last word on that brand of humour. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I know what you mean. But yeah, I reckon I could write a really good story about because the current The Journey like it finishes right in the most recent one. Like that's done and dusted, right? I think
James?
I forget the guy's name.
Which one? What? My name?
No,
he knows your name,
The
James.
Journey.
It's about the guy in The Journey.
What, Alex?
Yeah, that's the one. So his story's done now, right?
His story's finished.
So I can write a new one about a new guy becoming a famous
What would the new guy's name be?
Or a spin-off about his sister. Sorry, that was spoilers. But
spin-off about his sister. His sister plays football as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I could write that. Easy.
Well, get it done for next week and we'll read it out on the show.
Okay, cool.
And that's it for questions. If you want to leave us a tweet, it's at ComputerGamePod on Twitter, and that's it for the show. We're streaming, because you may have heard that. Tonight, if you listen to this on Wednesday, I'm streaming Resident Evil 2 at 9 p.m. Watch me have a genuine breakdown. I'm not putting it on, I'm having a breakdown. That's tonight at 9 on twitch.tv/The Computer Game Show, or if you want to watch James play Deadly Premonition, that's Friday at 9 also on Twitch. I'm back for Bloodborne Sundays, Sunday at 9, and Sean plays any old game at this rate, because the rules will be changing left, right, centre. Any old games, Tuesday at 9 p.m. All that's on twitch.tv/Computer Game Show. If you don't watch it live, you can watch the recorded versions on a YouTube channel. Just search for the Computer Game Show on YouTube. Back to Twitch. If you go Amazon Prime, you also have Twitch Prime, and with that you get one free subscription a month, and we'd really appreciate it if you gave us your subscription. So just go to our Twitch channel, give us a free sub. We'd mega appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, links to all our other social channels are pinned to the top of our Twitter account. Just go to @ComputerGamePod on Twitter. There's links to our Discord, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all the rest. Apple Podcast reviews are the last thing I'm going to mention. It takes 2 seconds. If you're in the area, why not give us a review, because they really do help. That's about it. I don't think I've forgotten anything. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Wicked. Right. I'm going to go to bed. Thanks for letting us be natural. Cheers.
Thank you.
Goodbye.